Oh, Oxford's here.
Hello, Oxford.
I don't think he can hear you just yet.
No, he can hear you. Hey, welcome everyone to the Astropub. My name is Paul, Berserker01, Batman Shelley, your humble host and space bartender here. But I'm also the moderator tonight for The Captain's Table, your community-driven podcast where I bring people from all over the Star Citizen universe together to talk about the game 60% of the time. Now, we're probably going to talk more about the game now than we have in the past, simply because there's a lot more to talk about it.
Sweet CitizenCon drip feed has caused us to engorge and swell as content creators. We have so much to talk about.
They just stopped talking for like 3 months, and so that built up 3 months worth of like talking points, so that they just when the dam burst, they just was like, hey, here's all of this content. So it's just like, we have too much to talk about. Not enough time.
Yep.
So with that being said, let's go and introduce everybody here in the cast first. First off, I'm going to start from over this direction. We're going to look at this man, Twistar.
I like how you addressed me as a cast member. Very appropriate.
You are a cast member. Yes, you are. You're a reoccurring character. If this was an 80s television show, HC, you would be getting, you'd have, like, this is like season 2, and you'd finally be getting your little, like, part in the intro, finally.
The little intro part, yes.
Yeah. Twistar, who are you? What do you do in Star Citizen?
All right, first off, I'd like to thank Paul for inviting me, and I'm a big fan of all the shows. I watched the Historian, all that. I am Twistar82 on Twitch. Do Star Citizen news for Oxford_SC on his day off on Wednesday morning, 2 a.m. Eastern time. I have a humble YouTube channel where I post my streams to, and that's Twistar Gaming, and I'm also Twistar Gaming on Facebook. I just recently put together a studio. I got the last piece of the puzzle done, and I'm going to incorporate more days into my streaming and some more time into it.
You may have heard him if you watched my podcast, or my regular streams. He was hanging out with us on Monday doing some MechWarrior Online and such like that. So you may have heard him before.
Yes, I'll be joining Paul for more MechWarrior on Mondays for sure. I
like the branding, all Twistar. I like it. Good. The berserker in me approves of this because if you don't know my story, I spent many years with a really generic name, and before I moved to the Astropub. So,
and another thing I did recently, maybe Paul could post a link to StarCitizenGaming.com.
Oh yeah.
I put this website together because I felt a need for it. So I put a bunch of money and time into it. And what it is it's a one-stop shop for pretty much all Star Citizen media. I mean, like if you don't have a lot of time and you want to get right to it, I mean, you go there and I tried to incorporate everything I could. And if you guys could look at it and give me your feedback, and I'll change it and we'll make it better, and it'll be ours, the whole community.
It reminded me a lot of I'm an old veteran of the Halo community. It reminded me a lot of Halo.bungie.org and like what they did, which is just basically like a repository of fan information, of official information, of everywhere. Like, so if you wanted to know something about the games at some point, the lore, the gameplay, the other fan creations, you could just go there and they'd have a link somewhere. That's what it reminded me of. It's kind of like a good place where you can amalgam everything. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah. So if you're a creator and you'd like to get added to the page, I mean, it's your page, I mean, to submit and say, hey, Twistar, please add me too. And it's not a problem. We'll get it done.
Okay. I also am going to admit that I'm kind of a derp and forgot to tag everyone in the cast in the tweet. So, sorry about that. I'm putting that in the RT right now. Here we go. All right, awesome. And when do you usually stream these days, other than Wednesdays for Ox?
Oh, I am going to incorporate 2 more days, which I think is going to be Tuesday, and Thursday.
Nice. Awesome. So make sure you go check him out. !pod follow in chat to find his Twitch stream there. And I'm sure you can get all his other social media links from there as well. Next, we have it's Vertigo. You know who he is. We're moving on to the next person.
Move on. You know where to find me.
Who are you? What do you do, Vertigo?
I am hcvertigo. I am a full-time Twitch streamer over here. I do Star Citizen as my main game, but we tend to go back in time sometimes to the more retro stuff. Currently, we are setting up to do some Fallout 2 Let's Plays. I'm also updating the YouTube channel. I don't have enough subscribers on the YouTube channel to have any keywords or anything associated with it. Just a long string of characters right now as a link. But we're working on that, and that's pretty much it. We got the Halloween stuff coming up with the Asylum podcast come Mondays. We're going to do a dressed up stream in costume. We got that to look forward to. But more Star Citizen. Are you
dressing? Are you dressing as a positive person for once?
Yes. Yes, we'll be very, very positive. We're going to find the opposite of Morton Salt. Something sugar. Probably like who was the
Betty
Crocker?
Betty Crocker. Yes,
yeah.
Cosplay as Betty Crocker. I will watch that stream.
So there you go. You can find me on Twitch, twitch.tv/hcvertigo. You can find me on Twitter, /@hcvertigo. There you go. That's me.
Awesome. Next, as someone in chat noted, there's a lot of new faces here. Not all of them are new. You've probably seen them or heard of them before, even here on the Captain's Table. We've just been doing the Captain's Table for almost 200 episodes now. For the last 2 years. It's been over a year since we did the first one. I tried to calculate up all the old episodes plus the new ones, and it was just like, I think it was around 100 or around 200. One of those nice big 100 round numbers. Next, we've got a face you have probably seen before. He is the man, at this point, if he doesn't have like his name somewhere on some room in CIG, I'd be surprised. I like to think that he's the real boss of Underscore. He just pays Underscore salary at this point.
I know he got to upgrade, so I don't know if I want to pay salary anymore. He just got up some, but it was a well-deserved upgrade.
Mm-hmm.
That's for sure.
Clifford, aka Miku. Who are you? What do you do in Star Citizen?
I'm just like everybody else. I'm an enthusiast in, space games and content creation as far as gaming in general is concerned. This year has been, I guess, the most busiest year because I'm going through, like I said, off stream, like what you went through, Paul, of transitioning to a new home that's going to be set here where I live currently. So this home will be moved off. We'll stay at my parents for about, hopefully no longer than a month, and then move into the new home when they put all the pieces together here. But currently, I've been really a mixed bag in streaming currently. So my normal streaming hours is like Monday through Friday from anywhere from 5 a.m. until I just get tired around 10 a.m. 8 p.m. and go to bed. But yeah, I mean, I just, have always been enthusiastic about anything Chris Roberts has ever done as far as him being concerned. But I found myself more and more this year getting like Myers is into VR more and more and doing VR stuff. So this new home will give me a better studio size, about a 20 foot by 20 foot. So I'm really going to be able to really show what VR wireless can really do. And I've been doing a lot of content with VR chat and other VR devs in Unity and etc. And so I'm probably going to go through a transition like you did, Paul, on the name scheming side, because I'm really, really thinking about rebranding everything. Because I want to push a lot of VR.
You've got a new-ish name as well in Twitch, right?
Yeah, I'll holler out there. I'll say they're Spearmint VR. Yeah, and that's only because people ask me why I chose Spearmint, and it's not because, well, I do like Spearmint gum. That's the given, but
it's just game, right.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's like when I went into VR chat with a friend, I I made an anime avatar girl that has, spearmint looking hair. I say, okay, I want to call her Spearmint. And then after that, I've made friends with so many high profile, like Whoops, Drex, all of them that are really well known amongst the VR chat community. They're very high up there when they stream. They have like thousands of people watching them. Mm-hmm. So that's where everybody knows me now on Twitch is as Spearmint because I play a lot of VR games with them. So that's why I'm really considering on not only the aspects of, even though I have very good relationships with Krypton Media as far as Miku is concerned, because I do love collecting anything with Hatsune Miku, her music, the music developers, etc. I want to have something that's like you, that is your own branding, so then you don't have to worry about stepping on anybody's toes about your branding, anything like that. So it's going to be a big step for me because the team that I'm on, even though we did create a test team on Mixer and I am heading that front, but I'm also a part of Passion, which is the first stream team that ever got partnered directly through Mixer, who has over 1 million subscribers and also has we're like the top streamers. Like they're constantly me. I don't do what they do. I'm more of one of the other two people that are in the background doing a lot of the marketing and a lot of the business type stuff that you've known me to do. So, but we got these group of young guys who are, God bless me, they're really big PUBG, really big Fortnite players. So they go and play tournaments with Ninja, all these top streamers, and they battle it out constantly. So that's why we're so high up, because of them. And that's why we're getting all these deals with like G Fuel. They're picking up deals with DX Racer, with Logitech, with Corsair. And so I'm just kind of helping in the background. I kind of sit in the background and help them, because they're a bunch of group of young guys. I'm in my 30s. They're in their younger 20s and stuff. So it's nice to see, trying to teach them how to do it smartly and business savvy. So that way, even though some people do streaming for full time, video content creation for full time, it's not forever. So if you know how to invest it wisely, like Co-Carnage and a lot of them do, you can retire from it and have a good nest egg. But you got to start early and do it smart. Yeah, when you have all these contracts.
I would have done a lot of different things if I had been doing this with the idea that I was doing this as kind of a job ahead of time. I don't do this full time myself. I work during the day. But it's definitely a secondary job for me. And if I had known that 5 years ago, I would have done a lot of different things and probably not have had as much heartache and a lot of pain,
Yeah, same here. I mean, but I'm really happy being in my engineering design field. But it's so hilarious because I've been last week I was on a podcast for VR Chat and they were asking me about my background and I went into everything. And actually they're bringing me back for another 2-hour special to do. Because there wasn't enough to get them to cover. He's like, God damn, how much have you not done in your lifetime? I said, I don't know. I just like to do a little bit of everything, whether it's game development, whether it's engineering development in the real world, or either working on VR or new content creation. I don't know. I like everything. I like doing something new that challenges me to always push the envelope of what you can really do. I mean, anybody's possible of doing anything they want. Never think that you can't. You never know if you don't try.
Awesome. Yes. And where can they find you? Mostly on Mixer, right? Usually these days?
Yeah. It's just mixer.com/Clifford, aka Miku, which if it ever changes, I'll let y'all know. And then it's the same on Twitter. And then other than Twitch is Spearmint_VR there. And when they go to there on Twitch, it's on the banner panels below. They can just click those links and it'll jump them around where they want to go.
Awesome. And last but certainly not least, you see another new face. You saw him just now on the relay station, if you guys were watching the relay station. Bree, who are you? What do you do in Star Citizen?
Oh, just like Clifford, I'm someone who is just a Star Station enthusiast. I've been around since 2012, and actually first viewed you while you were on the Geek Domos podcast, or I guess streaming cast.
That's what this was originally. This was just because Geek Domo took a long break. I created the Captain's Table because StarCast was what I like to do, and I wasn't able to do it. Thanks to Clifford, actually, was the one who invited me on the StarCast to help out as a regular cast member. So
Yeah, and look where we are now.
yeah.
So beyond that, I'm not a full-time streamer or anything. I have in the past. I did stream Star Citizen 2.0, but then kind of flutter out of it. And now I just record myself playing games and just upload it to my YouTube. They're uncut. They're all raw, so it's me playing the games.
Nice.
From time to time, I'll upload gameplay from like a PTU patch or from a live patch.
Is it on YouTube? You said
It is on YouTube. It's my YouTube channel is Bri'Volz84, BRIEVOLZ 84. But like you, I might be doing a little rebranding myself, kind of get everything into one cohesive like naming.
it's BREI.
BRI
Yeah.
EVOLZ 84.
Got you. Okay, I'll add that in there. Sorry, I didn't know you had a YouTube as well. So
Well, it's fairly low key.
yeah, I'll add that to there. Anyways, yes, awesome. You may have heard the name I always say Bri'Volz in chat as well. He's been in part of the sourcing community for a very long time. So awesome. Now let's get down to the business to defeat the Huns, and by that I mean let's talk about Star Citizen. I'm going to ask each cast member 3 questions. What did they like? What did they dislike? And what surprised them about this week in Star Citizen? Anyone else is going to jump in to kind of respond to whatever they say. And after that, we'll take questions. So this should take about an hour or so. Go grab something to drink. Go use the restroom. Come back and settle in because it's going to be a while. We got a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
Bree, what did you like? What did you dislike? And what surprised you about this?
So, what I liked, especially for this week, there's a few things. I liked how they went into a little bit of the flight model and kind of flushed it out a little bit, allowed us as a community to ask questions. I like that their cadence for releasing the CitizenCon presentations has picked up a little bit. And I mean, there wasn't really a whole lot this week that at least that I noticed anyway. I mean, ATV was just a recap of the main presentation.
RTV was pretty good.
Yes. And that kind of goes into what I dislike about this week. It's something very specific with the flight model, and it's that human ships are, for lack of a better term, losing their 6 degrees of freedom. They're now pretty much just going to be World War II planes in space.
I disagree, but that's only because I've played the game. Like, and we were talking about this beforehand, and Vertigo pointed out you played a version of the game, and that could completely change in tomorrow. Yeah. So I could be completely wrong, but what I played, that was not the case. The case was that when you slowed down, your maneuvering thrusters were more effective, but when you were at high speed, your maneuvering thrusters would make you just spin like crazy because it was your main thruster, your main engine was the thing that was powering most of your abilities, most of your movement. So I don't think it'll be completely gone. It just will not be as effective as, say, a ship like the Xi'an Scout, which is designed around the idea of 6 degrees of freedom.
Yeah. So, and everybody's up in arms about all of this. I'm going to interject my opinion. Everybody's just flipping the fuck out over this. Like, wow, this is going to be terrible. Like, there was a quote from Max Payne that I like. I can't remember which one it was. I think it was Max Payne 3. You want to make some enemies, try changing something. There was plenty of successful games based off of the Chris Roberts flight model. Free Space, Star Lancer, Wing Commander. Everybody loved these games, and that's essentially what we're going to be going back to, except we will have the ability to strafe. We won't just have the ability to slide. all over the place. But it needed to happen. Something needed to happen. Gunnery either needed to become easier with auto aim, larger projectiles, larger hitboxes,
longer fight engagement distances,
higher projectile velocities, or the flight model needed to change so that your opponent had less options in maneuvering.
Yeah, if you don't like your ship, you can always melt it and get the ship with the flight design that you want, right? Because every ship's unique. There's,
Well, the problem with that is some people really got attached, and that's where a lot of this complaint is coming from. Some people are really attached to the current flight model. Some of the really top tier pilots have become quite good with the current flight model at doing what they do. But that's just the tip of the iceberg, though. There is a lot of people out there who are currently not playing that I think if they were to plug their joysticks in and try to compete, they would just get frustrated. I actually get pains from PvP spaceship combat, just flying around my Hornet and trying to kill things. It actually causes arthritis flare-ups in my wrists and my elbows just using my joystick and my keyboard. And that's not what I want from a video game. I don't want to be put into pain. So something needed to happen to kind of lower the skill ceiling a little bit, just so everybody else can get into it. So I think we're heading in the right direction with CIG, but a lot of people are complaining because CIG is just changing something. And to go off the TheN00bifier video, which I like a lot, is the quote of the TheN00bifier is, what was the point of the last 5 years with the flight model?
Learning.
Yeah,
I mean,
it was welcome to testing. Welcome to video game development. We're throwing out what at the wall and see what sticks, and that didn't stick.
I remember Halo 2 is a good example. Halo 2 was this big epic. They had a whole complete different story, and it was big and epic, and it was really complicated. And they showed it off at E3 the year before they were going to release it, and it looked great. And then they got back from E3, and someone basically was like, "This isn't usable. This engine, all these other things are complete garbage. They won't play on an Xbox because they had to use modified Xboxes to even play the demo." So they had to go back from ground one, either in a year or 2 years, and completely remake the engine with new assets, basically scrap everything they had before to make the game. And Halo 2 is considered one of the best, console games of all time. In terms of its introducing people to online gaming and consoles and lots of kind of stuff like that.
And there's been massive overhauls in games in the past. StarCraft was one of the biggest one. You go look at what StarCraft was shown off as. I think it was at E3. It changed completely from what it was shown as when the original E3 to what it was released.
So a lot of and the people who are currently doing the flight model for Star Citizen were trained by the people who had worked by was it John? I forget who was the head of the
John Pritchett.
John Pritchett. By John Pritchett himself. They were his understaff for that. So it's not like it was completely wasted. And a lot of the stuff is still there. It's just not what we see now, kind of thing.
Well,
I like how things don't migrate to jousting, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
With the flight model we have. I mean, it's like it's instinctive to start jousting, and that's not good.
And you end up with very long orbit maneuvers where because you're trying to force your opponent into a maneuver that makes your gunnery skills easier. That's essentially what meta is. Least amount of effort, highest chance of success. That's essentially what the meta becomes. And you start to see very high damage for trigger pull weapons being favored because you don't get a very big window for weapons fire. The Scorpion miniguns and the Mantis miniguns and the laser repeaters, all that stuff falls by the wayside because it takes too long
to kill.
You don't have enough. Yeah, it takes too long to kill stuff because you don't have enough windows of your window of opportunity for actually doing damage unless you're fighting a big ship like a Starfare Caterpillar isn't big enough.
Monoboat.
Yeah. You just throw as much damage, not DPS, you throw as much damage in a tiny window because that's all the window you're going to have in the current flight model. And that's just, to me, like I said, it hurts me and it disgusts me and I don't like it. It's not what I wanted from Star Citizen. We got way too much variety in weapons and tactics and whatnot just being thrown out the window because ships are just too fast.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, Bri'Sirina, we kind of hijacked that one. Is there anything else you wanted to comment on that?
Well, I mean, my concern about it is not that the thrusters are have less output and you feel more inertia with your ship. It's more of the way I fly and the way that I fight is I actually use my thrusters a lot more than I use the main engine when I'm attacking someone. Like I'll fly around you and try to
Mhm.
get that perfect angle. Um, with this, it just seems like you have to be going at slower speeds in order to do that. And I think that since we don't have a precise mode now or combat combat mode, everything is just pretty much just you can go as fast as you want up to the limit, obviously.
Okay, I'm gonna correct that. That's not the case. There are two modes. There is the standard mode, which is just you go straight, you build up speed, you can't turn much left or right, but you're going straight. And then there's a mode that you have to tap that will go into combat mode, and it limits your speed back and forth to a certain degree. So now you have to, in order to get into combat, you can rely on your thrusters
Mhm.
more than your main engine. It restricts your speed, and it lets you get into combat more. But it will also lower your inertia or not inertia. I don't know, put this properly.
It's essentially a flight. Essentially, it's going to be another thing I think they're going to add into ComStab, which is going to be this speed safety switch you can turn
It's
on.
essentially
and off.
it's essentially SCM mode, but it's not SCM mode because you can switch from that to just normal mode pretty simply and easily. But it's in that mode you have fairly decent control. There's a lot of sliding, so it requires a little bit more of you rolling and fighting than it is just strafing. So it's a lot of strafe, roll, and maneuver like that. You're just constantly trying to move in weird directions so that your opponent can't quite get a beat on you, but it's a lot slower. So if somebody else is seeing you, then you can get into trouble as well. I played in an Aurora when I tested it out, and I killed the Gladius. It took a long ass time to kill the Gladius, but I killed the Gladius in the Aurora. So it's the issue. I think is it's not as you will not have what you have now, where you can just like strafe left, right, up and down, just like quick. It's just not. That's not the case. You're gonna have to plan your movements into combat, and you plan your movements out of combat. Because you're not thinking about where you're going, you're just going to end up flying past somebody, and you're going to have to like completely stop yourself, turn around, and come back. So it's all about using your speed and inertia. Because when you go into that mode, you're still going at speed. You're just slowing down, and you can have more control of yourself.
And the people that spend more time in the game and build those skills will be the ones that excel instead of people that just pick the meta and joust. And
exactly. It's more focused on how you fly than how you shoot. Shooting is so important, but the flying is what's there. Sorry.
I mean, if someone wants to joust past me, I'm still trying to perfect the maneuver of backing up and pulling my nose so I can actually put a couple shots into their underside while they fly past. But yeah, it's going to be it's going to be one of those predictive things. But I'm not ready to throw it out just completely yet. Say that's the worst thing that's ever going to happen to Star Citizen, because I knew that this was going to happen at some point. They needed the flight model was just too wild with the strafing in all directions. So I want to play with it before I put pass judgment on it. I'm willing to give them a lot of feedback. Oh, they'll have so much feedback. They'll get tired of the feedback.
One of the problems that I had was that the schemes were weird. Were just weird in the controls. So I was fighting the controls more than I was fighting the movements. Yeah. At first, and once I figured out the controls, I accidentally into the SCM mode that they had, and I was like, "Oh, that's how you turn." I figured it out now. And once I accidentally into it, it became easier for me to figure it out. And I talked to a lot of people who are like, "Oh, it's terrible." I'm like, "Did you figure out how to move?" I'm like, you can move? You can like maneuver? Like, yeah, you can. There's a button you had to push. I didn't know that. So there's a lot of learning the controls again, this is a drastic change from what it was in before. I think that's going to be the biggest issue, is that people are going to take it, one look at it, they're going to try to fly it, and they won't fly like they're used to, and they'll be like, "Fuck this, I'm out."
There's going to be people throwing tantrums over this shit. In fact, I'm looking.
There already are. I'm
looking at I got 4chan up. I got the usual 4chan thread up. Spectrum, fucking Twitter, Reddit's up, and everybody's just throwing tantrums about this shit. RTV has seemed to have lit a fire into the community. But like I said, the people who are playing right now, and I've made some people rather salty by saying that the best people aren't playing right now.
Oh, I've said that with so many. The best pilot in the game that hasn't even picked up the game yet.
Yeah, I mean, we have this very small, tight knit community. Everybody assumes that this is going to be Star Citizen. As Star Citizen continues in development and opens up, more and more people are going to come to Star Citizen, and some people their passions may become so inflamed by it that they put serious hours into learning and getting good, and suddenly the people who we knew were the best pilots suddenly aren't the best pilots anymore. The people we knew who were best at Star Marine aren't the best at Star Marine anymore. Like that's yeah.
Good examples of this are people like Little Bit of Madness or Redlear, who came to the game late and learned how to play. So they're I didn't remember Redlear or Little Bit of Madness in my times in Arena Commander in 2013, 2014. But now I know they're combat pilots because they've made names for themselves somewhere and somehow. So
yeah.
So Paul, when you were there with the new flight model, what ships did they have available, and what ship did you like the most, and why?
I was only able to play the Aurora, but there was the Gladius, the Aurora, and the Saber and the Avenger. They had like 8 or 9 of them set up, and each person had a different, like it was like Aurora, Gladius, Saber, kind of like mixed up a little bit. But there ended up being slightly more Auroras than anything else. And I like the Gladius. I think the Gladius is going to be the best kind of hybrid of turning and maneuvering as well as speed. The Saber is still a FU boat. It's still a boat that just you come in and you just hit everyone with everything you have. But I don't think it's going to be. It seems a little slower and a little bit more bulky in turning than something like a Gladius or even an Aurora. I could turn circles around it in an Aurora, but I was used to the whole trying to roll while I was fighting as well. So I was rolling and strafing, so it was harder for those sabers to put their beads on me. But I didn't have enough damage on my Aurora to do anything. So
Saber's still boom and zoom.
Yeah, still very a boom and zoom ship compared to a Gladius, which is more of a turn fighter or more of a. I guess it's not really turn fighting because turn fighting in the traditional sense is like using your speed for like
using your angular velocity to get behind somebody. They actually talked about that on the RTV where they said atmosphere, certain ships will actually perform a lot better in atmosphere than others, that you may be able to win a turn fight against an Aurora. Like the Aurora is just a brick in atmosphere, and if it tries to get into a turn fight, it's just going to slip and flap all over the place.
But in space,
in
space, it's really more. It's less of a turn fight and more of like. Have you ever seen like kittens or puppies fighting each other, and how they'll like they don't quite know how to stand up, so like they'll like swipe at each other, but then like they'll move, like they'll fall and like roll around and still fight while they're like kind of rolling and tumbling everywhere. That's what it kind of looked like.
So it's going to be a literal dog fight.
A literal dog fight, yeah.
Yeah, like a kerfuffle.
Yeah, like
there's 2 cats here that do that. Roll on the floor.
They just roll around the floor and jump on things. It looks like that, and it feels more like you're in an actual fur ball than what pilots call fur ball here, on Earth. But I will say, in general, that someone asked me why no Avenger love. The Avenger was bugged in the build we had. It was totally and completely bugged. You couldn't move. Like one of the thrusters was not firing properly. So you would, as you were turning, your thruster would just not react, which would not work. And as your thruster would not work, you would constantly be turning left or right in one direction. And as a result, like it was, and like someone who came up and was like, I hate the new Avenger. You talked about the problems and why am I blanking his name? He's got a doctorate in geology or in archaeology. He works for CIG now. Used to be a fan. Now is works for them. Why am I not missing? I'm forgetting his name.
It's old. That's that old timers.
Yeah, it's just that Alzheimer's kicking in really hard.
That's
I can't even figure out who you're talking about.
Bear.
There you go.
Bear was in charge of all the feedback. And this way, if anybody is concerned about the gameplay, Bear is in charge of the feedback. If any of the old timers know Bear, he was the guy who kept up the meta XML file, the meta spreadsheet for years. So note that Bear is in charge of the feedback. So anything you say is going to be going through Bear, and Bear is going to look at the data. So, yeah. Anyways, that was one of those threads that I knew that it was going to get touched on, and I wanted to talk about. So that's what you dislike, Bri'Sirina, right?
And don't get me wrong. Like, I'm definitely going to give the new flight model or the new flight characteristics the college try, and I'll probably will eventually, or turn out I will like it. It's just that's something I saw, and I didn't play Arena Commander at CitizenCon, so I only played the 3.3 with the FOIP and VoIP, which crashed on me.
Oh no, the flights would crash all the time too. The AC, those were the two, but yeah.
But yeah, I'll definitely give it a try, and I'll see what its weaknesses are.
You'll find ships that you like. I'm sure you'll find ships that will be better than the style that you're looking for.
Yeah. And so what surprised me was I was surprised that they actually didn't really go into the auto aim, because right now, like, when you have your sights on your league or lad pips, like the ship kind of like takes over, and like you really can't get that zeroed in hit.
Well, that's ESP. That's that auto aim they got in there.
And I kind of wish they would touch up on the ESP aspect of it. But
yeah, I was messing with my joystick thinking it was me, and then other people said that it's purposely steering you away from where you're trying to go, and I was like, okay, great.
Well, there's several bugs, not just with the ESP system that everybody attributes to that. There's also a collision avoidance autopilot that locks your controls up too if you get too close. There's also some weird if you're using strafe inputs like I do, it will, if you're too close to a ship, and we did this, we were trying to get the two airlocks lined up on retaliators in the PTU, and if you're too close to somebody and you strafe forward or backwards, your ship will give you a bunch of velocity for no reason, and this will cause you to impact somebody. If you decide to fly up to another ship to look at it, and you accidentally I want to get just a tad bit closer, your ship will just go wild and you'll ram right into them. So there's a bunch of issues with the flight model currently, and they're still working on that kind of stuff. So there's an auto aim that pulls you to the center of the ship you're aiming at if you lock onto them. That's the ESP, which will pull you away from the pips you're trying to line up, because you have to lead in front of your target, not at your target. So that's kind of one of those bugs right now that's kind of pissing everybody off. But
so they could have faked it by moving it to the front, right?
I think they're trying that, but for some reason there's something going on with the server client stuff where it can't quite figure it out, or it's not a priority at the moment. They got too many other big things.
Well,
somebody high up.
The way that I understand how CIG works, because they're doing this new flight model, they're going to probably pull ESP completely out of the flight model and see how well people can fight without ESP. Because one of the reasons why ESP existed was because fights were moving so fast. You needed something to be able to train your guns closer and further away as you got closer and further away to a target, because you couldn't manually set your convergence like you can in fighter jets today. Set it for 100 meters, 200 meters, 300 meters. So the
thing was Pritchett made this huge document and they coded everything for ESP, and it's just we're just going to throw it out because it doesn't work. I mean, son of a bitch.
Yeah. But so I feel like what they'll do is they'll figure out where combat is after they do the new flight model, and then they're going to figure out if they need to bring the ESP back and how to tweak it. So it feels a lot. And when Chris Roberts mentioned the Expanse in terms of the flight model, he's not wrong. It feels, I kind of call it the flip and burn flight model, because it's more about flipping and burning. You manage your straight line speed, and once you've stopped moving, You turn off your engine, you're still going at this speed. It doesn't slow you down. And the only way to counter your angle is to flip and burn away, to go back to slow yourself down. So you'll actually have to literally slow down to stopping before you continue to move the other direction. And the other cool thing was that on the HUD, they had a dot that would move to the direction of where gravity is pulling you. So it actually has the direction of gravity, and it tells you how many G's you're pulling. So you could see at what point you're blacking out. Like at 4 or 5 G's, you start to black out in certain ships, and certain ships you don't. So there's definitely G's and the direction of gravity and where it's pulling. So, anyways, was there anything that surprised you this week?
Well, that's what surprised me.
That's what surprised you.
Was that they didn't discuss ESP.
They didn't discuss ESP, yeah.
Or like at
Awesome.
least the automated stuff that hopefully they'll allow us to toggle, like if we want that stuff on or off in the menu or somewhere. Because I'd much rather have full control of my ship than have something automated.
Clifford.
Yes.
What did you like? What you dislike? And what surprised you?
Well, after watching those videos and stuff, this is kind of like not my forte because I'm just like, I'm in a weird predicament because I'm just like, I really don't care at this point in time because I'm more of a
focus on everything else around you, right?
Exploration, a space trucker. I'm not worried about combat or trying to get into combat. Then people will say, well, you got all these capital ships and shit you buy. Hey, on those capital ships I got, I'm going to be in the engine room working or doing something like that. I'm not going to be out there doing combat or anything. So I'm going to be mainly doing the other jobs on those ships and things. But I mean, I can see with this flight model, it really is going to make me think of like you said, with Aurora might not being as good on planetary flight versus maybe a Gladius because of the wings and how it's set up. But I think it's kind of funny is like, if a guy's in the Gladius, he'll say, hey, I'll lure this guy down the planet surface and combat him there because I'll have the advantage in aerial flight versus space flight. So it might actually start making people think of, hey, if you're closer to a planet, which is better, stay up in space, or should I take them down to the planet and combat them there where I have the advantage?
Yeah, and especially with 6 Degrees of Freedom fight, you've got the 6 Degrees of Freedom fighters are going to not be as fast because they don't have straight line engines like the other ones do. So you could also take them down into the atmosphere and turn and fight them, or escape in the atmosphere, because not only do you have the advantage in the atmosphere, but you also have speed advantage. So now you've got a ship which is both better in 2 sides, whereas you are worse in 1 in space, or worse in 2 in space. So now you have the advantage there. So I don't know. I think that is a good, interesting idea. The idea that people might plunge into atmospheres just to give themselves advantages. Yeah,
and that's why I've always been known for this, and people sometimes rip me for it, of being this kind of the middle of the road person that doesn't agree or disagree with what SIG does, because I look at long-term development and like TheN00bifier, so eloquently put in his video is he's just is in that wait and see moment of, is it going to go this way? Is it going to go that way? I'm not such a knee-jerk reactionist because I know game development is always iterary, it's always changing, and they always want to see how the mass majority of players, and like you said, the people who are playing now, all suddenly once Star Citizen enters that stage where we got a couple of solar systems and everything's kind of pretty much hammered out of which way it's going to go. It's just a matter of adding more and more and more stuff to do. I think you're going to get a whole host of new players that used to play PUBG, used to play these other flight games that will come into the game, and then they will just mop the floor of everybody that's come before that have been playing it for years, just because they're just good at their own forte, or taking their own unique life skills in other games that they played and applying them to Star Citizen. So I'm still in that wait and see mode of where it would go. And I can't really comment as far as, because I'm just not a combat type person. I mean, I love it. I love being in there.
Was there any other news that you like, that like you were excited about, or is anything you were like, man, this is kind of weird, or anything that surprised you this week?
Nothing. I mean, I like the idea of the alien ships having more of the advantage, because I mean that kind of plays to heart in my eyes to the aliens have been starfarers a long time before the humans have, so they might have the more of the advantage technology to mop the floor of us in space combat, versus the humans are still going off of their old flight models of how we used to do an air flight and just applying whatever new technology they've learned over time. And so, and I think that's kind of cool because we're like the underdogs going against the Vandal and fighting them out. And that's why sometimes they're mopping the floor with us, because of our older technologies are just not quite there yet. And so it's kind of wait and see. That's what kind of excites me, though, because I want to see more alien ships, so to speak. That's where my heart is like, oh, I love all these human takes. I mean, I love how the Kraken look more like an aircraft carrier that's just playing in the heart of our own human history. But then when you get into aliens, that's totally new things that go on the far left end of the spectrum of sci-fi, to where they can make them look every way they want to make them look. They can make them do weird shit and say, oh, well, that's alien technology for you. They've been starfarers a longer time than we have, so they're going to have the more agile ships, but they foretake in not having as heavy armaments because of they have that maneuverability. But if you ever get them in your crosshairs and hit them a couple times, you're going to do some heavy damage, just because humans have always been known to really try and put as much emphasis on firepower versus maneuverability to take the enemy out, I guess. But that's what excited me, I think, the most, is just seeing more alien advantage. I would just think it plays to heart to an alien technology being more longer in space than humans have.
Yeah, and aliens thinking differently than humans do. Whereas like humans, everything is a plane, because when you break it down, humans have experience with 1G atmospheric conditions, so almost everything is going to have some sort of ability to deal with 1G atmospheric conditions. And like you were saying, the aliens, if they go into the atmosphere, well, we're going to have the advantage because we're so young. We've always been used to aerial flight. We haven't like adapted to the idea that we're building ships purely for space and not just for anything else.
And that's why the alien tax may be a little bit justified.
Yeah, and one of the things I'm really looking forward to is in lore. One of the things that took humanity really by surprise was the technology of the Tavaran, specifically their fighters, because their fighters apparently were really good in the first Tavaran War, and it was scary. Like human fighters had a harder time. Like the Gladius had a hard time keeping up with the Tavaran fighters in terms of maneuverability and speed. So like more alien tech is gonna be good. Yeah. Awesome.
Love.
Next, let's go on to hcvertigo. Vertigo, what did you like? Dislike and surprise.
Oh boy. I guess we could put like and surprise, because nobody's talking about this, into the same category. In-aim ship purchasing with in-game credits or in the PTU. Finally, after years, I can't believe nobody's mentioned it so far, but it's in.
I forgot about that.
Because it's busted as hell right now.
It's busted as hell, but it's in there.
Yeah, it's there.
Yeah. I bought a Cutlass in game, and there's no insurance right now for when you buy it in game. So I lost it, and it's gone now. I lost 1.5 million UEC.
I know. It's just like I tell people like now it's like the most before this point, and but before this point, the most I've ever lost in a couple of days was 100,000 credits due to trade and crashes in like 3.2 PTU. Now I can say I've lost over 2 million credits because I blew up like 3 ships I bought at Teach's ship shop.
Hey, I worry about myself. When I was flying the other day, I was just going to go a pickup mission, and I wasn't used to saying, hey, you need to slow down when you're going to your net. Actually, I just blew right into the ship, blew up. I'm like, no wonder why I bought all them ships for, because I'm going to be blowing them up constantly.
You're just going to be ramming them into stations.
Yes, ramming them into shit.
That's my philosophy.
I will say a couple things that I am. One of the reasons why I think a lot of people aren't talking about it is because there's no renting, and because a lot of people don't know it's in. And even though it is in the PTU, half the time you show up at Teach's, the ships are gone. So they're just gone. And I think it's a bug, because I went over and purchased a Cutlass, and it wasn't like that Cutlass disappeared. It was still there. Yeah. So
I tried buying out the Dragonflies with the money I had, People are like, oh, they've sold out. They're like MediPens. They have a finite amount on the server. I think it's just they're not being on the server.
Yeah.
I think it's just a bug of them just not showing. Because I tried to buy out the dragonflies. I got like to 10 dragonflies, and I'm just like, how the fuck can anybody buy out this entire supply in the time it takes me to get to Levski? It just wouldn't happen.
50
it's
people.
Tedious
If
and
every single person bought every single, there would be no way that would happen.
It would take hours.
And I think they also haven't finished the UI, or it's not quite ready for the UI for the buying and renting in terms of like the console, because the console's freaking cursor has disappeared still. So
I just consider
that.
I consider that Chris Roberts wants all aspects of gameplay to be skill based. Just like purchasing, it's just like purchasing items. You have to kind of it's a little mini game. You have to kind of guess where your cursor is on the screen by how the icons light up.
Also,
about like 5 minutes just to exit out of one of those menus.
Christian CIG says that he thinks that they just may have fallen through the floor. Even if that's just a joke, Christian, I actually believe they probably fell through the floor.
That's possible. That's
probably what that happened. I have seen things fall through planets in this game.
Yep.
Oh god, that is I honestly, I'm not even going to complain about the price. If anyone else here wants to complain about the price in my stead, you're more than welcome to. I have been bitching about the lack of in-game ship purchasing for a year now, and I'm just, now that's in the game, I'm just going to keep quiet over on the corner about whatever the fuck it costs.
Like, I know a lot of people are complaining about the costs. The reality, I think, is that it's alpha, and it will change. It's CIG. The one constant that you can guess with CIG is that shit will change. Lots of shit will change. Look at what 2.0 was and compare it to 3.3, and you'll see a lot of shit has changed. So,
I don't think the prices will change. I think like Eris said in the relay podcast, I think the prices for job completion and quest completion are gonna it's gonna raise.
Well, they did in the in one of the CitizenCon panels. They said that ship prices will be dynamic, but it's not. I don't imagine someone. It would take like an organization like Test, not to pick on Test, but they're just a big organization. It would probably take Test
Squadron, Best Squadron. Yes,
months of just cargo runs at a loss in order to push down the prices of like shield generators for like a Hornet.
Yeah.
That come on the base Hornet to lower the price of the Hornet. But even then, like you're doing that stuff at a loss in order to manipulate the prices of it. It'd probably be more manipulated by in-game events, like large numbers of people. Yeah.
You also got to remember that positioning is going to matter too. Mm-hmm. You're going to pay more taxes in a civilized system, less taxes in a less civilized system, but you're also probably going to have less of a supply in a uncivilized system. Like outside, like at places like Nyx, like the actual teaches when it actually releases, you're probably going to see Misk and Drake, and that's it. Maybe, and that's kind of what Teaches already has. It's basically Misk, ships, and Drake. It's got a Prospector, a Cutlass. I think there's a
Buccaneer.
Freelancer, a Buccaneer.
Nope, no Freelancer.
No Freelancer.
Cutlass, Buccaneer. Cutlass, Buccaneer, 2 Dragonflies, a Cyclone, and 3 flavors of Aurora.
Yeah, and that's it. And I figure that's probably about right for Nyx. Yeah. Whereas somewhere like Hurston is going to have, the Connie Phoenix, the Hammerhead, it's going to have a lot more to offer, and so you're gonna see various options for ship purchasing depending on where you are, and the cost of the ship purchasing is going to be very different. In places like Teaches, you probably have much lower pricing versus something like
and a Hornet. Yeah, there's a Hornet in there too. F7C.
I don't think you'll see a Hornet in the final one. I think you'll probably more likely see like a Gladius.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're going to see all sorts of pricing. Also, the ship renting is going to be a thing. Used ship purchasing is going to be a thing. You're probably going to be able to purchase ships off people, actual players. You walk up to them and say, hey, I got this ship I don't care for anymore. Do you want to buy it for me for this much money? And then you can just kind of bargain or maybe do trades with other players. I don't know how that's going to work out, trading ships with other players. Do a barter system. Go ahead.
I think it's going to have to do with like just trading titles.
Yeah,
like ownership, But
pink slips,
yeah.
So that's what you liked.
Surprised and liked.
Cool. We're done. This is the first HC Vertigo stream where hcvertigo is not salty. He hasn't.
Yeah, you know what?
The salt.
Fuck it. Let's just no dislikes this week. Let's go.
Yeah.
Twistar,
Go.
you're up. Let's
Twistar,
go.
you're up. Like, dislike,
Positive.
and surprised.
All right. Let me see what I liked. I like how the patches are coming out like over and over again, meaning that they're refining things, and the sitcom panels are coming out. So I like the perpetual movement and their efforts in getting that done. My dislikes. I can't say I dislike a game that's in development because they're not pushing anything to me yet. But what I do dislike is some of the marketing stuff, especially the Wave 7 of the. So
what? How did that work? Because I don't understand how the wave system fully worked. I kind of understood why they did it, but I didn't understand what like the end of the waves were.
Well, the way I understood it is like wave 1 through 6. I mean, there was plenty, and everybody got what they wanted, and wave 7 got the leftovers from that. So people melted whole fleets because all the other waves. I mean, why would wave 7 be any different than the other waves? So they were confident that they were going to do it. So these people melted all their stuff. They were blindsided, but on the other hand, nobody told them they had to do that. So, that's on them that they did do it. And, so what they could have done is just increase the pool, right? From 600 to like 1,000 or 1,500 or even unlimited. And if SIG's idea of it was going to cause the game to be unbalanced, then I'm strongly disagreeing. And this is my opinion that the carrier probably wouldn't unbalance anything because it's a support ship, and the respawn time on it after it's destroyed could probably be a month, and the personnels that you would have to gather to actually run this ship. I mean, you can't just snap your fingers and have 50 people to fill up a Kraken to make it useful. So their whole idea of a carrier that has no armor, that's basically a wet paper towel that you can land ships on, it is not going to unbalance any type of game. And they also have the NPCs to counterbalance anything that would. You know what I mean? They could easily make NPCs seek and destroy Krakens if it became a problem.
I also think what they should have done was not made it a limited number sale, but made it a limited time sale. Would be probably
you just would have had
what
people
the waves
just buying
were,
up,
weren't they?
Yeah,
because I was wave
no,
1,
they actually had numbers,
and I got one
after the wave 1, like wave 2 or 3. They actually started adding numbers to the total.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because when I bought mine, it was just available.
Yeah, it's like by the time I got around to like looking at, well, I looked at it initially, and then I looked at it again in like wave 4 or 5. They had numbers. Even the one that I like, the version that we could purchase as wave 1 had numbers on it, had limited numbers. So.
Yeah, I
Wave
I
1
remember
because when I went to my wave 1, it just said, "Here, it's available to you."
Yeah, it just said available 1 with wave 1. There was no numbers. It was just purchase what you want. But they said you could purchase up to October 30th. But at the same time, by the time like wave 6 or 8 came by, or 6 or 7 came by,
then it
had numbers, and they had
that, and it was like the 27th, right? Like,
did CIG say anything about that beforehand? How the wave system was going to work? Did they explain that?
No, this is complete surprise.
They were blindsided. They melted their whole fleet. Why would they melt their whole fleet if they thought that they weren't going to do it?
Even us working on the sidelines with sitcom and everything, we had no idea how the purchasing system was going to work. They were very tight-lipped on it. They never said anything on it was going to be waves. All I knew is that when they announced that it was going to go on sale, and then they told me, "Hey, Clifford, go in there, fill out why you want one or whatever." But, majority of, I wasn't worried because, Legatus owners and stuff like that, they usually, they know they're going to buy the ship. So you pretty much, I think that was just to circumvent the bots. They were trying to circumvent a lot of the bot buying.
Which
I really hope they give them their buyback credits so they can buy back the ships that they want to buy back. Because if they don't, that's pretty crappy.
Yeah, that was also poorly communicated, because if they had said, "Hey, by the time wave 7 comes, we're going to reduce the numbers," then people would have been more. They would have allocated time for when Wave 7 came out.
That's not the way their marketing does things. I mean,
no, it doesn't.
Seriously, I mean,
they
then why
just
does
do
LTI
things and it happens.
exist on the way it is in the current state? I mean, seriously, I mean, I could go in all day and talk about their marketing and how it
ever
needs to
since
change.
the $5 CCU fiasco, CIG has been less and less interested in interfacing with the community when it comes to the marketing side or the sales side of the website. I have no problem with the developers. Developers are very, RTV, for example, they were very willing to talk about what's coming up with Flight Model and what their thought processes is. But when it comes to like the Kraken sale, it's just like, here it is, figure it out. And then everybody was like, well, have fun, everybody. And then everybody's not having fun because they melted all their ships to buy a Kraken. And they're like Wave 7. I heard a conspiracy theory that CIG filled the first few waves up with Legatus, pack buyers, users, or people who were whales, essentially. People who had, $10,000 were going to be the first ones in the first few waves. And then everybody else.
I thought too. Because
everybody.
Sorry to cut you over, but I'm at the close to 17,000 right now, and I was Wave 1, and I just put like a sentence or two in why I want to buy.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat too. I put a sentence or two in, and I just plainly said I want one to add to my fleet, so that way I can share it with my friends. That's all I said in it, and basically.
I said I just want to I want to wipe up pirate scum with it, and I was in Wave 1, so I think there may be some credence to that conspiracy theory, but I thought it was more along the lines of like time difference, but
yeah. And there's more I could say about that I'm displeased with, but let's keep the positive rolling, I guess.
I don't know about that issue, so I agree. I think there was some probably mistakes made in terms of, because I honestly don't think there should have been numbers. There shouldn't have been limited numbers. It's not a ship. It's the kind of ship that's going to get killed by several fighters. Mm-hmm. It's not a ship that's going to be. It's a capital ship in name only, because it's not
like an Idris or a Javelin.
No, it's huge.
It's armament. It's a big target. It's big target. It's got its armament. It's its fighter complement, and it's slow. It's going to be easy to spot. And if it gets caught out by itself, it's going to die. It's going to be reclaimer food. Like, you're going to come across a big battle, and you're like, oh, they had 3 Krakens here in this battle. Let's see if the Kraken's got anything good in them. That kind of stuff.
So, what surprised me, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Since we already talked about the flight model, I'll go into something that really did surprise me. I guess it was Nikki Batgirl leaked out some information about something she heard Sandy say at SitCon, that there was going to be 2 events next year and one in December, and that would be the Squadron 42 drop.
Yes, probably.
Surprising.
Yeah, and I saw that too, and I thought that was pretty interesting, and it kind of fits with the timeline that if Chris Roberts wants, the development pace has felt like it's increased a little bit, and if you look at the public roadmap they have out right now, you start seeing a lot of the stuff that would be very useful in Squadron 42. The increase of visual fidelity, the AI you need for Squadron 42, because it's a single player game. You need good AI in a single player game to make it interesting for the players. And if Chris Roberts wants it out in 12 to 24 months, 12 to 18 months, maybe probably better a summation of it, you're going to have a constant drip feed of hype and news associated with Squadron 42. So even if you're not going to release it December of next year, you're going to have some sort of marketing party for Squadron 42. Maybe they're aiming for a release, or maybe they're just going to turn the release party for Squadron 42 into this big hype party, like, oh, we've gone gold or something.
Let me give you a perfect example of this. And this is me who worked in marketing for about 2 or 3 years. I worked in market research, which is different from normal like marketing and publicity and a lot of other things. But I've learned a lot through osmosis and through just watching how the video game industry works. You don't need a constant hype, but you do need reminders to people that you exist. Mm-hmm. So specials on TV shows, paid for ads on YouTube, like paying someone like I'm trying to think of a big name.
Yeah, but not hype that triggers crap storms, right?
No,
Yeah.
you want something that will get people excited about the game, or to just remind them, hey, this game still exists. Paying someone like Game Theory to do a game theory on your game. People do that all the time in the video game industry, either right before the game releases or right before some big announcement. That way, they have some sort of influence in going through. People are talking about them or hearing about them in some way, and then the closer you get to release, you want to blitz. Usually about 6 months. You want to have a build up of about 6 months to a year, where you're slowly building in if you have the money. But it depends on your money and how much you're willing to spend. Most movies, for instance, will blitz, that are not AAA or AAA, no, not like big tent, summer blockbusters. They're not Star Wars or Marvel. Will usually start marketing about a week or two before they release, and they just blitz hard, like on YouTube, on television, all sorts of things with ads. So with Star Citizen, if this thing is going to happen in December, if that's not a launch party, it is a preview party. Well, they'll invite people from the media, they'll invite streamers and YouTubers and other influencers to come play the game and have exclusive look so that they can record the footage and then show it off to their fans. And these aren't going to be people like me. Maybe they invite me. Maybe they invite Noobifier. But these are going to be people who are not in the community mostly, or people who are hardcore in the community, but a mixture of two of them, so that they can influence. I'm not saying this is going to happen. I'm just saying this is what I would guess if it's not a release party. So, but that's, again, we don't know.
I think it is going to happen because the container streaming was the last piece of the puzzle, and they know they need to give us a bone because we're hungry. I think that really is it, and that's my opinion. But I would bet money on it.
NCIG has said that when they release the roadmap for Squadron 42, they predict it to be like a year out from release.
Yeah.
So
they said they want to get it this year too.
I'm going
to in December. That may just be a possibility.
I'm going to address something that's in chat. They said there will be no media or commercials for Squadron 42. There will. Bullshit. There will be. It will also be, but it will not probably be on television. It'll probably be on YouTube. It'll probably be on before Twitch streams, wherever you see online media marketing.
One word, Amazon.
I can imagine Chris Roberts pushing for a TV commercial. I'm trying to remember the last time I saw like a video game commercial for like that wasn't like...
It's a bad waste of money. It's a waste of money. No one fucking watches our demographic who plays video games, even the older demographics who play video games. We don't watch cable television.
They're going to probably get with Amazon, probably with Google, with little banners to put on, with the Star Citizen Squadron 42. Yeah, I think it's going to be more anything internet media based than anything.
Super Bowl commercial?
No. It would be a waste of money. It would be a massive ego. That would be an ego trip if it was doing something like that.
Spectrum would burn on fire. If that
Oh my god! How much did that cost us, Chris Roberts? Like it would literally be like millions of dollars. I couldn't imagine like $10-20 million to get on Super Bowl, American Super Bowl.
Yeah. But we've got
time is like
the time that I think it would be like something like that. What really got me jazzed up about watching the Squadron 42 was like, this is so set up to be made into a movie eventually. This is so set up for it.
Well, that's what Chris Roberts wants to do. He's got the Konami syndrome where he wants to make movies, but he can't make it in Hollywood. He tried. And by the way, taking even a poorly received movie to theaters is an accomplishment, by the way.
100%.
That is amazing. Just
making any kind of release, publishing any kind of movie is a fucking feat. It takes Herculean efforts and time, and it means that you've paid attention to somebody. So as bad and how as much money as Chris lost with the Wing Commander movie, it's actually not that bad of a movie.
Yeah, it's not bad for a sci-fi movie.
No, it's not bad for its time period and restrictions.
Pretty
yes,
it's not
anyways,
very great.
It was his freshman effort as not having dealt with Hollywood. And you go read up, and I've mentioned this before. Go read up on why we don't have a fucking Halo movie.
Yep.
Microsoft just doesn't want to put up with Hollywood's bullshit. They tried, but Hollywood works so much differently than software development that Microsoft didn't want to even fucking try. And that was Microsoft.
And that was with freaking Blomkamp. Like that was going to be Blomkamp's freshman movie after he had never made a movie before. No, this was before District 9.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Neil Blomkamp was hired to be the director for the Halo movie before District 9, and they had Weta doing all the work for it and all that kind of stuff.
So anyways, Chris Roberts has the Konami syndrome. Wants to make movies, can't make it in Hollywood, but he can develop software. So Squadron 42 is going to be, if you go back and play all the other Wing Commander games, Squadron 42 is going to be a very cinematic game. And a lot of people may not fully appreciate the amount of time you spent waffling and faffing about inside an Idris, talking to people about how their cramps, they got cramps, stomach cramps from the mess hall meals were bad. And you're going to have to go fetch some medicine because they can't get off duty for their stomach cramps. Like, there's going to be stuff like that all the time, dealing with the crew, looking at their, talking to them about their backstories and all this other stuff, giving them massages.
Shoulder massages.
Shoulders massages.
Do your nails,
There's going to be, like I said, there's going to be a lot of that backstory stuff. Like, in Wing Commander 3, I think Wing Commander 3 was the most cinematic one. Roberts.
Can we get in Squadron 42? Can we get court-martialed for or get demerits for not being in Iraq during
oh my god, I'm sure you will be able to. I remember playing America's Army. The United States Army put out a video game called America's Army, and they had a live fire tutorial, and you can actually shoot your sergeant in the face, and then you get court-martialed immediately after. Just face the black. Yep, you're court-martialed. So you had that option. I can imagine Star Citizen will do that too. You can get court-martialed in Star Citizen. Well, that'll be a game over screen. You're court-martial.
The other thing that surprised me this week, after Noob gave me the breakdown and filled in the blanks for me when he did the video on how they're going to do the location things in Star Citizen, and I think it's crazy that they're going to do that because it's unnecessary, and the amount of server calls that's going to take on a game that's already bogged down and they're struggling to make, it just doesn't make sense what they're trying to do. They're really overcomplicating something that's extremely simple.
Yeah, I think that's Star Citizen though. That's CIG's development process, which is reinvent the wheel. In some ways, it helps. In some ways, it helps.
What's this?
Oh, that how they're doing the mapping systems.
Yeah, Noob's got a video on it, and
like control mapping or
the galaxy, the universe, like the planets move, and because everything's moving like in real time, you can't just have set points because that point's drifting in space constantly, and the amount of math that the server's going to have to do and the amount of server calls it's going to do, he just made his job 10 times harder for no reason.
But I do like the aspect. One thing that brings me up too is when I was sitting there behind the stage watching him talk about now you're going to be able to view your live data on our website and see that, your computer's a piece of shit, but his is doing good because of these reasons.
That's a situation where I think reinventing the wheel is a good idea, because in some cases they're doing new things because they want to do new things, and it's interesting.
And we'll be able to get to see real live data of how this is all going to when they actually put the server data out there of how it's computating all this, which is going to be very fascinating. I can't wait to see that.
And I think, and this is again going into something that I think is superfluous, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, to the actual game development side of Star Citizen, and it kind of leads me again to think that Chris Roberts wants to build his own service out of Spectrum and out of the website. He wants to produce he basically just wants to make Origin again, but he wants to make an Origin similar storefront. He
never has been shy to say that he wants to make Origin software development company again, and he thinks that the Origin name on EA's store page is literally an affront. That's the reason why we have Electronic Access Store. That's his giant middle finger to EA.
Yeah.
And he hates EA, and I don't blame him. They kind of
he owes everything to Lord British,
Richard
Garriott.
Mm-hmm.
That's the origin guy. I mean, Chris was made by him.
But I was really happy though when I was talking to him on the download when he was signing autograph stuff because I was there by the table, and I asked him, I just was like, hey, I want to be honest with you. Since I went to Mixer and it's a part of Microsoft, do you hate me now? He's like, no. He said, Clifford, to tell you the truth, I actually have 2 CEOs over there that I am very good friends with Microsoft. Yeah. I have a very good relationship with them. He said, so no, don't think at all that I'm not going to shy away from you advertising our game on that platform. No, not in the least. So I was like, okay. I just always had that lingering in the back of my mind because of what had happened in the past with Microsoft. And today he said, no, that's not the case today. He said, don't worry about that. And I was like, okay. So he was at least blunt and honest about that, aspect of it. So it's like, that's good to hear. I mean, because I always, they're pushing, Amazon and Twitch, and I understand that. But he said, I still have an understanding that I'm not that closed-minded to open myself up to other streaming services and other open markets because that's just more people we can reach about our game.
I don't doubt that like Squadron 42 will reach Steam eventually.
Yeah.
Eventually, yeah.
But I also don't doubt hcvertigo's the idea that they're building a storefront. Like Star Citizen isn't just a game. If it works right, if it works the way that Chris wants it to work long term, it's going to be a franchise.
Yeah. It'll be like an IP.
There'll be multiple single player games based off the Star Citizen universe. There'll be the Star Citizen MMO, all that kind of stuff.
Will there be a cartoon?
I doubt.
Like
I don't doubt it.
Will like Wing Commander? Everybody go to YouTube.
Don't
Look up Wing Commander Academy.
Oh my
cartoon.
God! Oh my God! It's so bad. It has Mark Hamill in it though. It does have Mark Hamill as a voice actor.
Hey kids, Mark Hamill.
It's one of those weird where it's like it's between Transformers and like the BattleTech animation, which is like kind of it's old, but it's like you know what they're kind of using old technology still. They're kind of using old styles. So you can kind of forgive it. It's a little campy, but whatever. And then
kind of like the BattleTech cartoon, the Mortal Kombat cartoon, the
but it's between that one and like the revolution that happened like after the Batman animated series, where like you start getting much crisper animations. You get much like when animation started getting much better in the late 90s, early 2000s. So Wing Commander is the Wing Commander Academy is part stuck in the 80s. Part stuck in 2000s. So
it is so fucking 80s.
They reuse so much like art from as much as possible to save down on costs, but all the lines are crisp, so it just looks really weird to see like this low FPS repeated like head jerk and stuff like that over and over and over again. But it looks good. But it's just like it looks like a bad GIF half the time. Like is what it looks like. Don't get me wrong.
They'll draw a big scene and they'll just pan the camera across the scene as they're animating people. It's just like literally it's just so. It's so cheap, but it has like a charm to it from that era.
Mm. All right, to start, was there anything else?
Yeah, what are we talking about again?
I would just like to really thank you, Paul, for doing this for me. I appreciate it, and I hope everybody follows me. at Twistar32 on Twitch, and
right there.
And, it's going to be good.
I apologize that this is kind of the spaces that we go through. I'm sure you've watched the podcast before, and we kind of get off on tangents. But all right, cool. If that's it, let's move on to the questions.
Yep.
Thank you guys for talking with us. Now, everybody else, if you are, look, it's TheN00bifier. Hi, Brian. How's it going?
Here, open your bill, sir.
All right. So while everyone's taking bio breaks, getting new drinks and everything else like that, let me explain how the question and answer system works. Yeah, go ahead. Take this time because we got the questions and such. So for those of you guys who are new in chat, we do questions. None of us are CIG developers, but we can give official CIG answers just because my reign of terror will continue. So feel free to ask us any questions. There are some big caveats. Most of this is our opinion, or what we use with the best of our knowledge at the time. Don't ask statements. A statement is not a question. Don't ask stupid questions. There are such things as stupid questions. Let's see what else. Try to keep the questions relevant. Hey, noob.
Hello. I just wanted to give you guys an update on that guy that was like trolling you or whatever.
Yeah.
Super pissed off. And I told him that he should make a new account and come back and donate shit tons of money to you. Wait a minute. Can I say shit tons of money to you on your?
Yes.
Perfect.
Yeah, it's not
so
like
I
it's
hope
not
he's
like,
listening.
I still love the fact that when you posted the last Captain's Table you were on, you said it was there's going to be some foul language, and then like within a minute of it starting, I was just like, F this, F that, F this. It was like, oh my God, I forgot.
You and GHG are perfect for that. I'm like, this might be not safe for work. And the first thing he says, F this and F that, and people even chat is like 4.7 seconds. Yeah. I'm like, 4.7 seconds what? They're like, immediately after you said that, boom. So yeah, it's good.
Those warnings are real, not safe for work.
Right.
I was gonna.
Bio break's over, right?
Yeah. Bio break's over.
I'll go get
Twistar. Okay.
Thank you, noobs.
I did give him a chance. I said, and here are some of the realities. Here's Twitch 101 for those of you who haven't been on Twitch much. Don't insult anybody with a sword, because people who with swords like Mr. Squarepeg and Diabolus and Inner Hype, if you see them with the swords, Bri'Sirina, and if you see anybody with who's a mod, they're there because they put time and effort into maintaining status quo and decorum. If you insult somebody whose job is to maintain status quo and decorum, and they ban you, the streamer's going to have no sympathy for you. I'm not paying attention to everything that's being said in chat and something like this because there's like 202 people watching. Yeah. So I'm sure a lot of you are commenting and talking to each other, which is fantastic.
Yeah, only 200.
And I've got only 200. Yeah, we see them emotes. Thank you. But I have 4 people I'm talking with and trying to keep things interesting. So if you insult somebody, or if you even if they insulted you first, it doesn't matter what the fuck they said. If you come back and be nasty to them and they ban you, I'm going to uphold that ban. And most streamers would. So just try to stay civil with each other. That's all I'm going to say. Like, I have no problem. There's a reason why knowledge isn't banned, even though knowledge comes in and often has a negative aspect view of Star Citizen, because he doesn't come in and swing at people.
Yeah.
And that's fine. Whew.
Healthy criticism is always wanted.
Yeah.
Yes.
But some people, some people. I think I know who you're talking about too.
Some people doesn't know that, you're just voicing your opinion. You're not saying this is it. You know what I mean? Everybody's got their opinion, and you need to respect.
Yeah.
Yes, don't piss people off with swords on Twitch or in real life. You never know what they're going to do.
That's good advice. This is
good
advice.
It's good life advice. Life advice with Paul Shelley. All right. So with that being said, let's get to the questions. We have probably a lot. In fact, we have so many that Mayonnaise started asking questions last night, and then also right before the show.
That fucking Mayonnaise.
He has this record of being the first person to ask questions for like this entire year, I think, just about. Don't insult people with swords on Twitch or in real life. And there's Cam. All right, so Mayonnaise015 asks, do you think FOIP will have a widespread appeal outside of Star Citizen? Or do you think it's only going to be used in Star Citizen? So what do you guys think?
I think it'll have a wide appeal in a lot of games, I think.
Yeah.
Short term, just Star Citizen, but long term, as the industry adapts, I can see it hopping to a couple of other genres or other games as well.
It's going to be an MMO thing for sure.
Mm-hmm. And it's important to remember that Faceware is the one who made FOIP, not CIG.
Oh, man.
Mm-hmm.
So this is something that Faceware did with the help of CIG. CIG just let Star Citizen be the guinea pig for the idea.
Yeah, and this is their stepping stone, basically.
And then
And-
the
and I
sim
know,
game,
and
right?
And before anybody steps in and goes, fucking Guild Wars 2 did it back in, or Guild Wars did it way back in whatever,
EverQuest.
or EverQuest or whatever did it so many years ago, they track the lip movements. What FOIP does is tracks your entire face and your eyes.
Eyebrows, eyes.
Eyebrows, your cheek movements, your nose, everything gets tracked
Like
based
face
off of your movement, just like face rig. But it's face rig for gaming, which is unique. So,
Yeah, and I think the more revolutionary
FOIP.
side of this
FOIP crypto.
Yes, I think the most revolutionary aspect of FOIP is going to be the face tracking for looking around your cockpit, so people don't have to buy stupidly expensive head tracking kits that are like IR head tracking and whatnot. They have to put the stupid band on their hat or their headphones, and then have the IR sensor on top of their monitors. They can just buy a cheap
Loot clip.
see something or other. And people were telling me that they were using their really crappy cameras, laptop cameras, and it was working. The face tracking was working somewhat nice.
It works okay. Like I have only a 30 FPS camera, but it's a low light camera, so it works pretty well for tracking my
And the
movements.
light that you see in my camera, like it tracks pretty well too.
So, and there's a lot of
That's why
things
I've
like
kinda-
it has a lot to do with your facial structure. Like for instance, my tongue is about the same color as my bottom lip, so it'll often mistake my tongue for my bottom lip in tracking, which is kind of a weird thing. And where you place it also matters, and the distance it is from your face, and how tightly you have the camera to your face, all that kind of stuff. So, but I think you'll see games like Rockstar games, and start using some of this technology. They already have something similar with with voiceover, where if you talk, in GTA Online, some of your characters' lips will start moving. So, but it's based off of
phonemes, I think, right?
Yeah,
yeah.
I don't think the facial stuff on FOIP will be that revolutionary. Honestly, I see a lot of content creators using it for memes, and I think it'll be more useful for machinima. People will be doing stuff like Red versus Blue with a Star Citizen, and that'll be the biggest selling point. And role playing. Yeah,
and don't discount the rise of RP gaming in this last couple of years. A lot of people grew up playing Dungeons and Dragons, and if you can play Dungeons and Dragons with a video game, why not?
A lot of people are still playing Dungeons and Dragons. Yeah. Tabletop stuff is still massive.
Yeah,
these days.
But I mean, like, if people can translate, Elohim is a good example. Elohim grew up playing D&D, and I've talked with Elohim in the past about this, and he basically says, like, if I can get a game that can give me the freedom and interaction of D&D in a video game, I will play that video game to death. And that's what FOIP is kind of around. That's the idea of FOIP. It's the idea of going towards that direction in gaming, not just in Star Citizen, but in gaming overall. So yeah, I think other companies, if they can implement it pretty easily, will start using it.
Yeah.
All right, next question. Manny015 asks, what's the most anticipated game set for release in 2018? So let's go with Twistar. What is your most anticipated game overall of 2018? Outside of Star Citizen or any
MechWarrior 5.
Crickets.
MechWarrior 5. Okay. HC?
Yep. I got
I don't know. Is Cyberpunk releasing this year?
No.
I wish.
Then there's nothing. There's nothing I care about.
You're a horrible person. You care about nothing?
I
didn't care about BattleTech when it came out?
I still have. We want to talk about PGI and the asshats over there at PGI.
Well, X4 comes out in November.
Oh, okay. Then X4.
Okay. Red Dead came out recently. We had.
Okay, I like a setting. I like a time setting for video games where we weren't wiping our asses with our hands. I like the idea of having a game setting past the dimension of toilet paper. So Wild West shenanigans really don't excite me all that much.
I kind of excited about that, but
you can be excited about it.
But I'm waiting for PC, so I'm not super excited about it. I'm just like, meh, it's gonna be cool, and the story's gonna be great. But I really care more about like what the potential of like RP and like long term that is.
Mm-hmm.
All right, next question, Clifford, what is your most anticipated game of 2018?
I don't know. Really, of 2018, I've been really eyeballing a lot. Like I played recently the demos for Generation Zero. That was pretty fun with mechs. Almost reminds me of Horizon Zero Dawn. I've been playing a little bit that year. It's not until 2019 the full release, but they're it's pretty much like releasing it. A lot of it this year. Other than the VR mech games that I've been playing, like Code 51, Mech Arena, but yeah, I don't know of anything else this year that I'm really gun and ho for this year. Mainly, it's like next year. There's definitely Cyberpunk and those alike. I don't know.
I'm looking forward to Battle Royale number 517. Let me put that
another battle royale game. Yeah,
another battle royale game to suffocate all the other battle royale games.
Can we just have a game called another battle royale game?
Well, we already have a realistic battle royale simulator, whatever that is, a totally realistic battle royale simulator, which was designed to be a tongue-in-cheek poke at battle royale games, and everybody was like, "This needs to be a real thing." I haven't heard anything about it recently.
Well, the one that's coming out this year that have been it's supposed to be around November 9th that they're coming out with is Zero Caliber, which looks really interesting, and it's a battle royale VR game. And I've found that's why I'm really excited to get in a new home, to have the space to really turn and shoot people and stuff, because you're literally, those games are actually challenging because they actually put in the skill sets of where you have to literally drop your clip, put in a new clip, cock the gun, make sure your safety's off, then start aiming it. It actually makes you think about the weapons you have, what you need to do to get them loaded. Mm-hmm. So that's why I'm really...
And in VR, it's really cool because you can actually look over and then like hit the buttons. It tracks your hand movements and everything else like that. So
yeah.
Actually, you drop the gun, it'll drop the gun. Kind of thing.
What is this? A first-person shooter co-op?
And what's really interesting is that this year, if everything goes to plan, with the Vive, with the Steam Knuckles coming out, where it does the individual digits of your fingers and stuff. Yeah, it's even, because I've tested the version 2. I was waiting on to hopefully get version 3, but I have friends who have already gotten the version 3 and are testing it, which to me, I consider it the final version because they only changed out the sensors and the spring control in the actual trigger. But they're hailing its praises that it's finally the VR handset that we needed, because you can open your hand and then it not drop out, and you can wave your hands like you're waving at them and then go back to, articulating your fingers and stuff. So that's what really got me hyped up. It was, Zero Caliber and a lot of these VR games to be even more interactive, because as I gotten older, I like VR has been more appealing to me because it makes me move around. It makes me exercise myself while I'm in the gaming arena.
Okay. Most gamers, I talk to most gamers these days, and they think virtual reality is just a fad. I'm waiting for VR to kind of come into the acceptance of mainstream, and like the wireless VR stuff is really where it's going to take off. I think it's just I know people who bought into first generation Vive and Oculus Rifts. And they've like, "Hey, Vertigo, play this. You should try it." And there is no experience like it. It is just, even with like the first generation of VR games, it was just, there's nothing like it. It's a completely different experience. But there's go ahead, Clifford.
Well, no, it's like you're saying, that's why a lot of people us who have had wireless headset and regular headsets for a long time, when Oculus debuted that new in-between headset where it was totally, all built in and everything. Mm-hmm. Yeah, to us streamers, we were laughing at it. It's like, it's no Generation 2. It's no second coming of Oculus. But I kind of pushed that mindset aside and say, no, you need to look at it at this mindset of, okay, finally an all-in-one unit that's easily to be bought by the regular consumer. Put it on and it works, and that way they can expose more people to VR easier. Then they can say, "Oh, well, this ain't really this make-believe wonderland that everybody makes it out to be. Is actually quite good. Now I want to upgrade to the badass headset so I can get even more fidelity and better interaction." And that's what I find really hyped up about that middle of the road headset that Oculus is coming out with. It'll bring more people into VR. And then there's even hints of PlayStation has come out with this new VR headset for the PlayStation 5 that actually does away with hand controllers. That the leaks that have come out, they're actually these round bracelets with cameras all the way out around it with gyros that read your hand movements. So all you have is headset, the wrist, and then you just go, you play. And that's got me excited to get even console players more into it. So,
I will say one thing about VR. There's some people in chat are talking about how we don't have not everyone has enough space for VR, and that's true. But the more we develop VR technology, the closer we can get to start developing brain-computer interfaces and human-brain, human-computer interfaces and computer-human interfaces, which are systems that your brain can talk to a computer and the computer can do something.
You're talking about Ghost in the Shell. Like this is
Yes.
like science fiction level stuff
This
now.
is not just science fiction level stuff. This is also high level medical technology, which is being developed.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they've
Well,
also,
well, 360 treadmills are a thing, right?
Well, the newest thing that come out that they advertised at E3 and also CES, and this is the counter argument that I would put towards a person saying not having much space, is these new little strap-on deals you put on the bottom of your shoes that have little wheels, and you just sit there and you have this bar stool that has 360 you can turn around in, and you just run your feet on the ground, and you can run in VR game without even moving, and turn and run. And
like a little treadmill on your shoes.
Yeah, basically, and that's all it is. And that way, you can have a small space and still have that interaction of running in real time and exercising your legs because you're sitting there running and patting your feet on the ground.
Keep in mind, sorry to interrupt you, Clip, but keep in mind that there is always going to be the sit simulator too for VR, like Elite Dangerous, where you're in a cockpit, you can look around your cockpit and you can reach out and touch switches and dials and stuff.
Star Trek VR.
Star Trek Bridge, what was it? Bridge Simulator?
Bridge Simulator.
Bridge Crew. Yeah, Bridge Crew.
Perfect, Bridge Crew. It's the exact same idea. It's a
you're stuck in a fucking seat, so you can play it in your comfy lazy boy or whatever recliner, and you can have a great experience just doing that if you don't feel like huffing and puffing all over the place.
And people are saying, oh yeah, there are treadmills already. Yeah, but they're expensive.
Yeah, that's why these new feet trackers, and I'll find it and link it in the chat for you or give it to you, Paul. But and they're really cheap, and they just click on and they work. And they had it at TwitchCon this year too, that they were showing it, working in real time for even VR chat, which I play a lot in. But also what I like about what Vive has done with their Vive trackers is you can buy this strap kit and do mocap at a low cost with their trackers. Really? Yeah. You can buy more trackers, and literally they have all the straps for it. You put it on the palms of your hands, your elbows, one on your chest, one on your back, one on your butt for your hips, 2 on your knees and 2 on your feet, and you got full mocap renderization. And you can and that's a low cost way for developers to do mocap, which is cool.
Awesome. Yeah, I've heard a lot of there's a lot of technologies that are coming forward that you can circumvent the problem of space, but also things like The Matrix or Ready Player One or whatever. Like they're different things that are going to be going forward. VR is not going away like it used to. Like VR in the 80s or early 90s was a gimmick and that disappeared.
Yeah.
VR is
very polygonal.
This one is now, it's here. It's just a matter of developing the technology.
It hasn't died off like everybody assumed it was. It's still continuing, but it's looked like it's growing healthily. There's enough people who are enthusiastic about the software and the hardware to make it a viable form of entertainment. And that's what you need. And that's what back in after the video game crash of like the 1980s, when Nintendo came back around, they marketed the Nintendo Entertainment System.
Yeah,
it was designed to be entertainment. So there's VR chat. There's not just video games on it. There's VR chat. There's other software you can do on it too, exploration stuff. There's also some medical benefits to it as well. I've been reading constantly in the news about people who are using VR to deal with PTSD. And stuff like that. People who have anxiety disorders, they were able to use VR to help treat that.
I found. Oh, sorry. That's the link right there.
Cyber shoes. All right, let me get you a permit.
Yeah,
there's the link. Bye, Link. Nice to see you, Link. It's dangerous to go alone.
That's the oh, your message is not sent.
I'll send it again.
Okay, yeah, but that's it right there. They're very simplistic and they work. They just work.
Nice.
And they put
it
them
just
on.
Works. Thank you.
Yeah, Well, I mean, versus you having to buy that big Omni deal where you stand and run in place, which that's good for like big competition events. Which that's the whole concept of why they built the Vive Pro was not for the mainstream. It was made for commercial, for doing these big VR arcade centers, basically, is what they were built for. But this is the shoes that I was talking about that are really people are excited about, because you can stand on this. Look, you can just sit on your little stool and turn 360 degrees and run anywhere and be in one spot.
Awesome. All right, Bree, what was your most anticipated game of 2018?
Well, I would have to say probably Red Dead Redemption 2, but I haven't played the first one yet, so I got a PlayStation 3 and I have the greatest hits edition of Red Dead Redemption, so I'm going to play that one first before I play Red Dead 2. From the reviews I've heard, it seems like the hype is
Justified.
Yes, thank you, justified. But in terms of just that, like, I'm a big, huge space game enthusiast, so like the new patch for Stellaris is what I'm really looking
Yes!
forward to.
Stellaris! New patches, new updates, new features. I'm looking
They've
forward to it.
completely changed the game. Like Stellaris Vanilla versus Stellaris Now is such a completely different game that they could have usually, quite literally, they could have just made Stellaris 2, and this would have been sufficient in terms of how much they've changed it.
The Stellaris Now and the Stellaris, that's the new patch that's going to come out, the new DLC, it's almost a completely new game.
It's a game. It's a completely different game. How you manage your planets, how you explore, how how combat works, how the game is paced. They've spent a lot of time to refresh it. That's one of the things that I love about the company that makes that helps publish
Paradox
all of these games. Paradox Games.
Yeah, they'll do free updates, and then they'll do pay DLC, and like most of the I want to say at least it's kind of hard to explain. Like the mechanics they put in for the free downloads, but they expand upon them in the DLC.
Yeah, like Apocalypse had a whole bunch of patches, updates to the system that changed how the game played dramatically. But they also, in the Apocalypse update, which was a paid-for expansion as well, they had a whole bunch of cool stuff. You had in the game too, planet-destroying technology, interesting stuff in there, new ships, new weapons, new tech tree stuff. But all the game balance stuff, the stuff that affected gameplay, was in an update, and that's why you saw the Apocalypse update, the 2.0 update for Stellaris, get so heavily. The expansion pack got so negative reviews because everybody was downvoting it on Steam because everybody didn't like the massive changes to the gameplay, which didn't come with the Apocalypse update. It came with just a patch that changed the game dramatically.
Yeah, this new patch is a lot of people are they love it. This is the the least negative patch at least anticipation of the least negative patch that they're going to release. So, I mean, it changes a lot of things.
I have summers off because I'm a teacher, and I spend the time I wasn't streaming or doing like husbandly duties or other things I had to do for work. I would just oh, nice. That's the fully water cooled system right there.
Ooh,
there you go.
Nice.
Clicky.
Full water block for the
yeah, it's got the pump, everything. It's a full loop, and you can also tie that into another loop and have pump redundancy. So if one pump fails, you still got one going.
Nice.
Sweet.
All right. I will say my most anticipated game of 2018 was BattleTech when it originally came out earlier this year. But in terms of what's coming out, X4 is probably my most. Just because X4 looks like Star Citizen single player, but X style. So running a huge, massive empire and all that kind of stuff that you want to do on your own.
Are they completely ignoring X Rebirth?
Rebirth? I think so. It's pretty much the sequel to X3 that's not X Rebirth.
Yeah.
It's called Foundation, so I think it still takes place after X Rebirth in terms of time period. But they bring back the dates. So
yeah, just ignore Rebirth. That's just the best. Just retcon it out of existence. Like nobody.
And Rebirth got better. It got better well after the release.
Yeah.
But
that's
there's a
what
reason why.
Egosoft always does that. Like
They updated X3 in April of last year, and X3 came out in like 2011, 2012. So, like, they're still making update patches. But the one thing it is important to understand is that Egosoft always made X1 and they made X2, and it was within 2 or 3 years of making the original X series. And X3 came out like 2 or 3 years after that, and then 2 or 3 years later they have X Rebirth. But it's been 4 years, just about, since X Rebirth is released. So they actually took some time to rebuild their engine and to rethink how they're going to do the X series. So that's why, if you've seen some of the footage of X4, it looks fantastic. Graphic upgrades. It looks a lot like Freelancer did in terms of like gameplay, but with Star Citizen style graphics. It just looks great. God damn, Fire. All right. Anyways, that's what I'm looking forward to. Next, move on, because that was question 2. We've got a lot more to go.
Do we have any more by mayonnaise? We can hurry things up by scraping the mayonnaise.
He has one more. Or 2 more. Do you think it'll be possible to survive the destruction of a capital ship, but be trapped in the pressurized sections of your ship until rescued? Yes. Only because of how pressure is going to work in Star Citizen. But at the same time, I don't think you're going to be able to survive long. It'll be something that you'll have to send a rescue beacon out. Well, yeah.
Depends on how many EpiPens you have too for oxygen and health.
The Oxy EpiPens.
Yes, have lots of them. I can see the guy. I can see the guy be in the storage room with all the oxygen pens. He's locked in. He said, "I'm just sitting there, fine. I got plenty of supplies right here."
No, well, that's what I call the medipens, like space heroin. Just keep slapping those on yourself. You don't even need oxygen; you just need medipens.
Oh, direct that veal, V for veal, directly into my my veins. Liquefied baby cow into the brain, into the veins. Those of you guys who don't get it, the button for heal in Star Citizen is V. So the joke is
not
V
on
for
my
veal.
keyboard. Not on my keyboard. It's K for ketamine. because left-handed mouse, right-handed keyboard. P is forward on my keyboard. Just if anybody wants to figure out how fucked up it is to be left-handed mouse.
P is forward.
P is my W.
What? Does that mean that like the
semicolon L and quote?
Yep. And semicolon is backwards. Quote is right, strafe right, and L is strafe left.
Wow.
And spacebar is jump though, so you have that frame of reference. And comma is crouch and M is prone. And right shift is strafe, and that's right shift is run and hold breath. That's not awkward at all.
What language is this keyboard?
This is what language is this keyboard? It's in Russian.
Russian keyboard. Okay.
And let me tell you what feels blat, man.
Are you in Russia?
No,
no. This is an English. He's using an English keyboard. He's using his left hand or his right hand. Left hand for
left-handed
mouse.
Right-handed.
Yeah.
Right-handed keyboard. So because of that, I have this giant fucking monolith of a T1600M where the WASD would go, and so left-handed mouse, right-handed keyboard. Where's my right hand going to go on the keyboard? Well, PL : apostrophe seemed like a good place.
All right. Last question he had is: do you think there will be a line of spacesuit pets for Star Citizen, like spacesuits for pets?
I remember that TV show. What was it, Benji? And he had the intro had him in like his own little dive suit. That's kind of how I imagine it being.
I imagine it'd be cute. I think you'll be able to buy outfits for your pet, including spacesuits and stuff like that.
But the real question I think is on everybody's mind: will these suits have LTI?
Yes, 100%. That's the question, CIG. Will you put suits on?
Or you have to pay $25.
Subscriber flare pet spacesuit.
Pet spacesuit. Don't fucking give him an idea. Don't give him any fucking ideas, HC. Oh God.
And then you're
Um,
gonna have a docking port on the ass end of the suit to drain the waste compartment for your pets.
You can buy a pet door for your
do
Connie
not
for
put that
$25.
do not put
God.
that
I mean, like, you're gonna have
it's
a
gonna happen.
Drake. You're
It's
gonna have a
fucking
Drake.
happen.
You're gonna have a Drake spacesuit with no port because it's
Oh.
Drake. Fuck you. If you want
This
that,
is
you're
a
gonna have to
Chris
step
Roberts
up.
game. Stop giving him ideas, HC. I swear to God.
I'm so
Community's
sorry.
gonna-
I've had a tall boy, and I don't know. It's the beer talking. I swear to God.
No, gosh, the
Oh.
metagame has began.
Yes.
I haven't.
I don't want to own a pet in Star
begun
Citizen because I don't want to change out the litter box on my ship.
You're gonna step up to a robotic dog, and it's gonna leave little puddles of oil all over the place.
Yeah.
And you're gonna have to clean it up, or else your
Or you'll
crew's gonna slip and fall.
Yeah.
Like I can just imagine the mocap session for the slipping and falling animation.
Yeah, who's gonna clean out my pet suit? I'm not gonna
Yeah.
do that. I won't do that.
You're gonna have to get an
Is-
NPC to clean
is-
up Danny.
Is Fido going to be like, I need to go use the bathroom? Do I have to make sure that I'm in game so that I can walk my pet in Star Citizen so they can use the restroom?
It's
You don't
gonna,
want to
is
clean
it
his
gonna be
suit? Yeah.
yeah. If it's
Pet
gonna be
walker is
like
gonna be a thing.
if it's going to be anything like Final Fantasy VII, and I have to inbreed my pets in order to get the highest end Idris in the game, so the space doggy has the best sense of smell, so I can find the derelict Bengal in on a Vanu planet. Like I'm just done with Star Citizen. Like that's not happening. That's not happening. Oh my god.
All right. Next question comes from Oxford, who asks, do you think the constant rebuilding is needed being an alpha? Would not focus on overall development be more effective and visit these reworks later? That's mostly a question. Look at Elite. Elite is a great example of this.
Yes.
They built it and then they fixed it later. And by fixed it, I mean they fucked everything up later because their base. I love Elite. I'm a beta backer, but there's a reason that community is currently in up in arms because there's a lot of stuff that FDev did not handle properly.
I think they should just do a partnership with Netflix, considering how much you have to watch to actually go anywhere in Elite.
The thing about Elite is that there's a lot of potential, but for instance, I don't think we'll ever get space legs in Elite. That's been one of the big things in Elite's community is space legs, which is what we have in Star Citizen, walking around your ship, walking out in stations and such. And I don't think we'll ever get it. Not because it's impossible, but because what they have done, it would require such a rework of the engine and such a rework of the game that it would basically require a new game. So I think what we'd more likely see is a Elite Dangerous 2 or Elite whatever, the next
Elite
game.
Next, Elite 2019. Hey, you know what I'm looking forward to in 2018? The next Elite.
Yeah. Because that would make it a lot more. It make a lot more sense because a complete, ground up rebuilding of the
In my opinion, Elite,
game.
great. It's not gonna help Elite to add space legs to walk around a space station. Like they should focus on what their game is known for and what their current strengths are. Elite, the biggest strength for Elite has right now is immersive quality in the game. How the game sounds, its visual fidelity. Maybe if they improve upon that. Go ahead.
Sorry, it's still an inch wide, or
An
an
inch
inch
deep,
wide and a
mile
mile
wide.
long. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I used to.
And you notice it when you start putting hours into Elite that it's just you're waiting a whole bunch of time to go anywhere to do anything fun.
And it's important to note something like No Man's Sky. One of the biggest comebacks in gaming in terms of being the butt of a joke to being this huge success. And it had another rebirth with No Man's Sky Next. And they're not stopping. They're making another major overhaul and another major another almost game. I think it's called The Shadows or something like that in next year or over the next couple of years. So it's important to remember that some games can do it. so the issue with Star Citizen is, I think, honestly, the path they chose is probably the best path, which is early access, focus on what you can get done. And I think right now we're not seeing, I think we're done with ground up overhauls. I don't think CIG, I don't think CIG can do that. They know they can't do it. We know they can't do it. They're stuck with what they got. If they want to change something, Star Citizen 2 in 40 years, whatever. That will be the fix, or fix it after it's released.
And the thing with the flight, if we're talking about the flight model, and everyone's throwing that like, what, they're 5 years, 6 years in development, and they're redoing the flight system. They're not really doing. They're going into an XML file and they're changing numbers. They're having someone going in there and saying, okay, you're going to change this number to this number, and you're going to do it for every ship in the game, for every thruster. Go. Mm-hmm. And someone just sits at a keyboard, just punches stuff in. They're not doing a complete overhaul. They're essentially rebalancing the flight model.
What John Pritchett did is still at the core of the game, because you got to remember that there is no space in what was then CryEngine is now Lumberyard. There is no space setting in Lumberyard. Yeah. There's no space setting in Crytek. In fact, it was such a problem that they had space registered as underwater, so it was causing weird glitches because of that initially. So,
Z is always up. Then you put a sphere in the game that people can walk around on, and then the game just teleports you to 0, because Z is always up, and you're not up anymore.
Yeah,
you're under up.
So one of the things that's important to understand is that John Pritchett's work is still in the game. It's just a lot of his detail work is not, and that's what's been changing.
The underlying physics model of the flight model is still there. It's just the designers and all that are just tweaking it and maybe adding just a little bit to it to make it better.
I'll almost be wrong. TheN00bifier is saying is that they completely changed it. I don't think it's completely changed. Just like I don't think the Hornet got completely changed 3 times. There's still some elements that they originally did, if not learning the lessons of how to fix the engine so it doesn't think it's underwater anymore. Yeah. So yeah. Well, anyways, next question. Jackson asks, why do some ships have wheels as landing gear? Is there even a purpose of having wheels as landing gear in Star Citizen? Yes.
Well, to answer your first question, why some ships have wheels as landing gear? Fuck you. That's why.
Rule of cool. That's why.
It was just a design decision. And honestly, I wish more ships had wheels so they could taxi like airplanes. And they addressed that in the recent ATV. It would be great to be able to taxi and take off if your ship was based like a plane.
If there's a flat plateau, I'm going to land and I'm going to taxi around and I'm going to take off again.
Yeah.
Just because I can do it with my 300i, or I guess it would be 350R.
Yeah, I wish it was the Gladius too. The Gladius has a nice wingspan to it, but no. Fuck me, that's why.
It also kind of makes sense in some cases because most of the ships that have wheels are ships that are aerodynamic.
Yeah, and also they take into account of you look at the Caterpillar having those metal struts because it's a lot of weight. It's under its girth of it, landing on a planet versus having wheels on smaller ships that can actually, hey, we can make wheels that won't blow up once you hit the surface because it's stressed under weight.
Yeah,
it's like why do helicopters have wheels? I mean, it's so they can
they can be pulled around by a they have a little tug they can attach to the front of the helicopter. And they can shove it
or they can use their collective to move forward on the ground to taxi the same way.
Yeah, it's entirely possible. There's lots of reasons why wheels exist. There's also reasons why skids exist because they're cheaper. Drake, but
Gladius has skids too.
It does.
For some reason, I don't know why, it would make sense that the Gladius would have wheels, so you can have some.
Doesn't the Vanguard? Doesn't the Vanguard have wheels?
No, it has skids. It actually
used to have wheels, but
no tank treads. It had tank treads in its concept. And I remember people bitching about it constantly. Bring back the tank treads on the Vanguard. They look so cool, and they put skids on it. And I was like, whatever. I don't care. It's one ship out of 140. You go ahead.
And I think runways make sense just because if you have a large flat area that you can land and take off from, it still works. Why not? You know, freaking what is it called? The a lot of the VTOL craft that are dedicated VTOL planes still land and take off from flight decks or from airstrips when they have to, because it's easier. You know, that less stress, less fuel usage kind of thing. So
Yeah, like the Retaliator and the
The
Vanguard.
Harrier, like in real life, the Harrier, if it goes VTOL, by the time it gets up in the air and ready to transition to flight, it's burn off half its fuel. So
So sometimes just let the air do what it's supposed to do, which is
Yeah.
you know what the wings are supposed to do, which is lift you up. You know,
Yeah. That makes sense, but whatever. You know, what do we know? What do we know about physics?
also because it's cool, because that's the reason
Yeah.
why. Holy
Real
shit! Okay, Predator Meyer, I'm going to read this, but this is not a question. This is a dissertation that you just wrote me.
Oh my
All right.
god, do we have to sit through someone's college dissertation? And start
Yes.
I don't even know what that word means.
It means it's long and probably has some question that is very simple at the end. All right. Sean Tracy mentioned in the panel Breathing Life into Content with Physics that soft body physics was their next tech to explore and implement. This would be great for a more realistic ship-to-ship collision effect, but could potentially require some retrofitting of various ship models and other ship design parameters. If this tech was implemented, do you think this tech could delay Squadron 42 release if Chris felt it would bring more realism to the game experience? Don't get me wrong, I'd love to see big capital ships collision with soft body physics, but do you think it was worth delaying Squadron 42 game release?
Chris would definitely delay Squadron 42 for soft body collisions because he wants to do a higher fidelity romance scene in Squadron 42. And if you have experienced any of Chris Roberts' previous games, you know Chris Roberts' romance scenes need to have fidelity.
All right. The answer is we don't know if it's going to be or not, if they're going to do it or not. The one thing that Sean Tracy has also said is that they're going to have to completely rework how damage works on the exterior of the ships. The ships' outsides have to be completely redone because they have piping now, but they also need to damage a shot from outside the ship needs to damage the shield generator, which is inside the ship. So you need to be able to map the damage from outside to inside to change the inside status as damaged as well as the outside. Current model, the way that they model the ships, doesn't work like that. They do the exterior damage, but usually the interior stays the same. You have some light changes, but there's no real status in terms of damage.
They just burn off some polygons from the surface, change the textures essentially.
Yeah. So there's going to be some serious issues and changes that need to be done with damages on each exterior and interior. So that may have to happen anyways. So the soft body physics may be one of those things that just gets added on top of that. But I don't know. So
I mean, just think of the high fidelity romance scenes we could have with
I would throw this at you if I saw you in real life right now, hcvertigo. I would be throwing this at you. Shut the fuck up. Let's move on.
Shut the fuck up. I'm going to fight you, Vertigo. You drunk piece of shit.
Next question comes from L Walk. I always
you want me to try?
Yes,
I'm pretty sure. How do you spell it?
LWOOK.
L-Walk. All right, let's go.
I thought it was
L-Walk.
L-Wook.
Yeah, that's what I said before. He said that was wrong. L-Walk is wrong, is what he said.
Like Lovato.
Anyways, he said it's like look, but replace the look with a W. So Wook, I guess. I don't know. Next, he asks, do you forgive CIG a little for taking so long to get ship buying in game, now seeing what a struggle it is to implement? No. It's not a struggle to implement. It's a struggle to implement in their with their current their desire for fidelity. Because I can guarantee you what they're going to do is they're going to put up a panel somewhere in Teach's shop that says, "Hey, here's the ships that I have, and here's my inventory. Please come buy it." Just like in every other inventory. because some people won't be able to go down and actually look at the ship and say, I want to buy this.
Yeah.
Because when I buy cars in real life, I don't go to the car and click on the car and go, I want to buy you. I have to go into the actual like store into the like,
oh
the
my god,
office,
we're gonna have to have a
sign shit
haggling
like that.
gameplay loop.
Yes.
Star Citizen.
Only in
With
Elon
NPCs.
Musk's world will probably have little kiosks set up like that for buying vehicles.
Well, yeah.
Knowing
True.
him, he would do it.
So not only we're gonna have like the NPC argue with us over the extended warranty, rust proofing, and the AC, what kind of options you want in there, but then you're gonna have to add the extended warranty process to it, where they reject
The
warranty
aftermarket,
because your
the
ship was a
aftermarket
lemon.
stuff. Yes.
The aftermarket
how about,
shit.
How about the aftermarket stuff where you have to add the aftermarket engine upgrade to your Gladius when you purchase it, so you can get it right away?
Can I
Day
get
one,
a
I'm going to
stripper
sell
pole?
a kidney in game.
Yeah.
Death of a Starship Salesman.
Death of a Starship Salesman. Can I replace the grand piano in my Constellation Phoenix with a stripper pole from Echo 11? That would be great.
But for the simplicity of gameplay, they're going to have some sort of panel where you go through and go, "Hey, this is the ship I want to purchase." They could have done that a while ago.
They don't
You know,
need
they
a
could've-
panel in game. They got this panel right here.
Oh,
That's a joke.
but yeah, but they could have done that a while ago. Now, at the same time, I understand why they did it and understand the reasons behind it. Though I think I'm just glad that it's in. You know, I can't complain that it's in.
Now, do you think that? I really don't want to bring this up, but do you think the negative Nancys or the trolls will like kind of back off on the well, Star Citizen is just a scam. You're just buying chips and all that.
Those who are super negative or super critical of the game will never not be super critical or super negative of the game until it's released.
Well, do you think
And-
that argument will go away?
No,
no.
There are some people who are going to hold on to that forever. Like it's too ingrained within the PC gaming community or within the gaming community in general that Star Citizen is a scam and cannot be successful.
The argument is just going to change. It'll change from being that the game is pay to win because you buy ships to being the game is pay to win because they're going to make the grind so hard that you can't buy ships. And so it's easier for you to just pull the trigger and pull out your credit card.
Yeah,
that's the argument, and that's not a bad argument. That's an argument that other people have had with other games, like an intentional grind to try to slow people down to say, hey, you can get this little booster pack for just this amount of money,
or you get this UAC.
Yeah, pull out that credit card and buy us a shark card kind of thing. That's just not a. Go ahead.
Well, I'm going to be the exception to the rule of I'm going to prove them wrong that even though I bought every ship in the game, I can still blow them up just as easy as anybody else and still do poorly.
And that's going to be a reality. I don't think CIG is going to plan on. I have enough confidence in CIG that I don't think that they would do that because it would hurt their chances of promoting the game beyond the community they currently have. And the one thing you can never say is that CIG isn't ambitious, because they are ambitious as fuck. And that's one of the things they really would love to do is, that's their goal. So I don't think they would do anything to intentionally try to spike people to buy ships over playing with them in game or over buying it in game. But I don't think they're going to necessarily take that card off the table. You're still going to have, they're still going to be there. It's like, hey, purchase this ship now instead of earning it in game for those who can't play with it long term. So
if a war breaks out, people are going to need to buy bombs. Lots of bombs.
Bombs. Yep, bombs.
Next question comes from El Wook again, who asks, everyone is complaining about ship pricing. How much would trade-ins at the dealer change the dynamic?
A little bit.
A little bit. I agree with someone in the last panel who said that they think that that ships are going to be for salvage, for the salvage of it, the raw ore price of the ship, the raw value of the ship rather than the actual ship value. Will be what you get for trade-ins. That probably is going to happen.
It's probably going to be a fraction of what of what the new cost is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Definitely.
if you progress the way that CIG is envisioning people progress, an Aurora and a Mustang to an Avenger or a 300 or a Gladius or whatever, or Reliant, whatever that kind of thing is, it shouldn't take very long. And then from progressing from there to like a Freelancer or a Vanguard or a Cutlass, that shouldn't take, or a Prospector or those kind of ships, that probably wouldn't take it'd probably take about as much time as it would take for the first upgrade. I think if you progress the way that they're hoping to kind of funnel you down, it won't be as bad as people think. But I do think that people are going to be starting to save up. They'll have their Aurora and be like, I'm going to get myself an Idris. And it's like, go on, you brave, crazy motherfucker. Go buy yourself an Idris going from an Aurora.
Scrappy Aurora.
Yeah. But it's still going to take them
Let me
years.
tell you, Paul, about how easy it is to do a cross chassis upgrade from an Aurora to an Idris. I've done it to a Hammerhead just recently. In fact, I upgraded one of my Auroras to a Hammerhead because of the dumb bespoke animations from the Aurora. If you exit the space from an Aurora, it just shoves you right through any wall. So then you can just be shoved through a wall, and then suddenly you're inside a Hammerhead. I've cross chassis upgraded. Look at that. It's amazing. Don't worry, they'll patch it out. They've already made it so if you end up inside of a wall, it kills you. I think that's the anti-vertigo system kicking in. Because they know how much I love being in walls.
I don't know. I think the one thing I think about when I think about buying ships is, like I've told people, you'll have friends like in test who have, like me, I have like a lot of Hull E's and a lot of cargo stuff, because my forte is like, whether it's ship, doing ship trading or doing, exploration stuff. You'll have friends that, hey, if you're really eyeballing a certain ship, you're going to have a group of friends who have all these ships that buy and say, hey, shit, we all have to do is do about 4 or 5 runs of the Hull E's and boom, you got your ship, bud. We got you hooked up. And that's why I kind of tell people, it's like, don't be so frightened at the prices of the ships, because you will have, as long as you have friends in the verse, we'll help you out and get that ship pretty easily for you if need be. But that's why I kind of look at it in that aspect as me. I was like, I tell my friends, I said, as long as you're my friend on there, dude, we'll get my ships out of the hangar and go do about a couple, 4 or 5 runs. Boom, you'll have your, whatever ship you want, if you're really wanting to work with us and do it, together. And I think it's just a moot point as far as ship pricing is concerned. It's just going to be based on, what the economy currently will be when the, game actually has a couple solar systems to actually, have supply and demand.
All right. Sorry, I kind of blanked on it because someone sent me something like real quickly on about an event I'm running in the near future, which I got to talk to you guys about. I think I already talked to Vertigo about it too, but I'll talk to the rest of you guys about it as well. Mayonnaise015 asks, do you think there will be a line of... Oh, no. We already talked about that one. I skipped everyone else's so I can get through all the
I was about to say, I'm about done with my... I've had about half my fill of mayonnaise today. Just...
I see what you did there.
Next question comes from Pratermeyer, who asks, do you think that Amazon will give some form of free advertisement for Star Citizen if they think it would be suitable flagship for the Lumberyard engine? The Lumberyard engine's flagship game is not Star Citizen. It's New World.
Yeah.
It's, to my understanding, we're using a modified version of Lumberyard, so I imagine in the end it's not even going to be Lumberyard. It's going to be Star Engine, right?
Yeah, but it's kind of like how the COD engine is like Lumberyard. Or his COD engine is like Unreal, or it's based off of Unreal. It was originally based on the Unreal engine, but it's been changed so much that it's unrecognizable from the Lumberyard. From Unreal.
I'm actually surprised people aren't asking about server meshing.
Because it's not on the roadmap.
It's not on the
so
roadmap.
far out.
Yeah, well, it was on the roadmap for December.
3.4. Yeah,
But
back in January. Yeah.
I think it went to 3.5 and then it just fell off the roadmap.
Yeah.
And for anyone who's wondering what New World is, first off, I know that this is the case because New World is being shown to select content creators, Twitch partners, at TwitchCon right now. So Amazon brought them to TwitchCon and are giving exclusive looks at it at TwitchCon for only partners. So they're trying to promote it a little bit. It's an MMO based in the Lumberyard engine, so it's the same engine that Star Citizen's based on, which is in closed alpha, and it's based in kind of like a 16th century, 15th, 16th century, as if there's a brand new kind of continent that was discovered that wasn't America. It's a different continent, but it's that same kind of set. So you've got like Spaniards and the English and the French, and there's different kind of crazy, like all of the monsters you can think of that exist in myth exist, like, you know, like werewolves and vampires and the Wendigo and, like, you know, all sorts of crazy stuff that's going on. It looks like a pretty interesting game.
I want
it. It looks like, in many ways it looks a lot like Star Citizen, but, you know,
if it's got werewolves, I want it.
Renaissance, you know. Basically, a secret world, but set in the 15th century, whereas the secret world set in modern day. So, but it's not like a secret world in the sense it's like conspiracy. It's more like less fantasy, more that era, you know, the age of exploration kind of stuff.
Yeah, more of along the lines. Kingdom Come Deliverance is more real as far as that time period instead of, you know, magical things happening.
Twistar is standing up, so he's dealing with the standing desk as he's moving.
I know why Noob squats now.
Yeah,
I do. But my knees are older than his, so I'm not.
That's why I got to sit stand desk. That way I can, you know, when I get tired of standing, I can sit down for a bit.
Yeah. All right, we'll get through the most of these.
No, I'm actually holding up really well. I got the beer going. It's good. It's good.
Oh, so do I.
We'll get through some of these pretty quickly. We don't have a ton of questions. I think we have like maybe 15 or so left, and a lot of them, as always, some of them are in depth, some of them are really simple. Next question comes from Bob Hole Sumback, who asks, given what has been shown to be complete and what CIG holds up, do you think it's plausible to see CIG release by the end of, Squadron 42 release by the end of 2019? Is it plausible? Sure.
Yes.
Lots of shit is plausible. Is it reality? No, I don't think so. I think we're gonna get a lot more like a lot more news of Squadron 42 by 2019. But I think that you're probably looking at the earliest spring or summer 2020 release for Squadron 42.
That's my guess, is summer, quarter two.
Quarter two, most likely.
2020.
In my mind. 2020, yeah.
Yeah.
Chris Roberts aiming for 2019, Christmas.
Yep, probably.
But is he going to make it?
Chris Roberts probably aiming for summer next year.
And this happens with AAA. It happens with AAA titles all the time. Look at what was it?
I think it's going to be because they have to
Anthem.
do something, and they can continue to build on the other game. You know, I mean, I think they need to close that door.
Anthem. Look at Anthem though. For instance, Anthem was originally supposed to release at the end of this year, and they pushed it back to March of next year. Why? Because they need more time. They people get ambitious with their dates and not always make it. But most people are ambitious with the dates and they miss it by a couple of months. And sometimes it can happen where it's much longer. It's just why people get angry and get upset. Which is why I understand why people, when you say finish the fight 2015 and
2016, 2017.
Yeah.
I know Montoya's waiting for Anthem. Like he's like, I need that game. I need that.
Need it.
Next question comes from Redeemer Gunship, who asks, is the police bounty hunter interceptor Redeemer dream dead? No, the Redeemer is a gunship now, and it's probably going to completely retooled. As a gunship, as a police interceptor, probably still alive. If it's a gunship, it's just going to be riddled with guns. And if it's riddled with guns, you could change some of those guns out for...
Now, are we still going to get the modularity in the last stretch goal that we had for the fundraising campaign for the Redeemer? Are we going to be able to put a cryopod in there? Are we going to be able to change out one of the decks for cargo plates? Exactly.
But you'll probably you just have two people, one person, or you have at least one person. You have the probie in the back with the stun gun. So every time the NPC gets up,
She wakes up,
stun him again. Yeah.
I think the Redeemer should be left alone because of what it is, because of the way it was created and came about. And if they want a different type of gunship, they should just make another gunship and leave the Redeemer alone, because that's kind of like part of Star Citizen history.
The Redeemer's going to die. It's going to have to change. It just doesn't function, especially in the new flight model. It's just not going to be plausible to work.
And Chris hated that ship, but the community kept it alive. During the next great starship.
I honestly, I don't give a fuck what Chris Roberts hates or likes. Get it fucking done, Chris Roberts.
Yeah.
You're not going to like the fucking thing. Just give it to somebody and just cover your eyes when the next time it comes across your desk. Just rubber stamp that motherfucker as approved and just send it on its way.
The original designer was actually working for Star Citizen. I think he was working in the UK in Foundry 42.
He doesn't. I don't think he works for them anymore.
No, he doesn't work there anymore. But he was supposed to update it. But then I think he left or something happened. I don't want to spread any rumors or anything. But
yeah, exactly what Keepsick said in chat. It's kind of like they asked us to pick a ship, and now they're giving us the middle finger. That's how I feel about it.
I mean, my honest to God answer is give the crowd what they wanted. They're gonna hate if they want to get to the original Redeemer style and they want to update it to the new Aegis styles and just the same, keep the crab claws and all those other things. Fantastic.
But they could have chose not to ask us too, right?
That's true.
They chose to ask us. They picked their poison.
But my thought about that one is that just release it. Yep, do it exactly in that style, and it flies like utter garbage. Then people would refund it because this is not the ship I wanted.
Fake it, make it fun. Fake it.
They won't fake it. That's not how CIG works. They won't fake it and make it fun. If he really doesn't care about it, that's what he would do. He'd rubber stamp it and just let it suck, so that people would be complaining about it. But CIG didn't design it, so that's a whole nother like rabbit hole. I hated the Redeemer. I thought it was the worst of them all, but everyone loved it because they had a good marketing team. That's the reason why they liked it. Someone was making ship commercials with it, and they were like, it can hold everyone. It has a coffee maker. It has the kitchen sink. It has a beat stick. It's modular, so you can put in the sexy stripper pole with the stripper. Yeah. Like it was promised everything.
And the stripper.
They learned from CIG, promise everything. And someone's gonna catch on.
But it's not my problem. Like the Redeemer exists. Now your problem is deliver. That's it.
That's the problem.
Just stop thinking about how much you hate it and just check that fucking box, just like you did with in-game ship purchasing. Just put it in there, regardless of its faults. Just make it a gunship, put it in there, check that box, and then just that was the bastard child of someone else. Well, just
okay. This is a question for you, Twistar. Did you and Noob have poutine for supper? Perhaps habitant pea soup? Maybe some butter tarts for dessert, all dressed up chips for snack.
Nude made me his own recipe. It is a Big Mac salad. It is hamburger, cooled off, chopped up romaine, pickles, tomatoes, onions if you like them. His wife don't like onions, so we didn't put that in there. And I believe it's mayonnaise, mustard, and I don't know if he wants to come in here and help me out, but I believe it paprika and some salt and pepper. And it was good. It tasted like a Big Mac. And I said, dude, my stomach shrank since I lost weight, but I gotta have seconds. It's good.
I'm gonna have to get Noob's recipe for that because that sounds really good.
And he cooked me pancakes for breakfast too. And I got pictures to prove it.
Yeah. So apparently, Noob, you have to butter tarts. He said poutine, habitant pea soup, butter tarts, and all dressed up chips. So apparently those are things you need to give him. Noob. Next question.
I'm interested in this thing called a beaver tail. Also, if you are American and you come to Canada, you will see a million ANWs, but don't dare go in there and ask for a chili dog because they don't sell chili dogs at their AMW. The lady looked at me like I was crazy, like I was talking about my wiener.
It's a hot dog and a bun with chili over it, and maybe some cheese and some jalapeno chips.
Yeah,
and onions.
Jalapeno chips.
You're insane.
You're insane. So I mean, that's what they're famous for over here is their chili dogs. You go over there and it's like, what the hell are you talking?
Yeah.
Seriously, I was shocked.
There's no chili dogs in Canada?
No. Just at the A&Ws.
Oh,
You have
okay.
A&Ws in Texas?
Yeah, of course we have A&Ws in Texas.
And
I
you know
just-
the
not in
foot-long
Austin,
hot dog,
but yeah.
right? The
Yeah,
foot-long
yeah.
chili dog.
Yeah.
They don't have no hot dogs on the menu at all in Canada.
Wow.
Wow.
Maybe it's called the chili sausage. I don't know.
No, seriously. They're known for their onion rings, and Noob said, "Get the onion rings." And I said, "Okay." Then I got the onion rings, and they were like homemade onion rings. I mean, seriously, they weren't no processed crap. It was really good onion.
Wow. The Canadians are in chat being like, "Don't you dare push that chili dog bullshit on us." Like I'm glad that Cam can't speak right now, or she can't hear me right now talking about how Canada hates chili dogs, because she would march to Canada and like force feed Trudeau a freaking chili dog and be like, "Make this mandatory eating every Tuesday," because she loves chili dogs. Like it is one of her favorite foods. So
Did you catch the Discord link I sent you yesterday with what I thought of when I thought of Quiet Room and Canada together?
yeah.
That was funny, huh?
Oh, that's also one of the best one of the best Canadian movies of all time. So
I don't think they like that movie. I really
don't?
think I don't think so.
Oh.
You'd have to ask Noob to find out. But
Oh.
I don't
I've
think
heard
most of them like that.
Canadians talk about how it's like the Canadian version of Harold and Kumar in terms of like kind of like dude bro movies or something like that. But
The best
dude bro
movie-
movies, but yeah.
The best Canadian movie I remember seeing was Canadian Bacon. Was it John Candy in it? Where
Oh,
the Canadians
God.
had built this nuclear doomsday device. And
Do you know
they had
who
this
actually
ragtag-
made that?
No, who?
It was Michael Moore made that movie.
Oh,
I'm not
God.
kidding. He's the writer and director of that movie. That was his
Oh,
only.
yeah, I
It was
guess
his theatrical release. It's his theatrical debut. Strange Brew. Yeah, Strange Brew.
I remember a scene from that movie where they were driving through Canada. They had like this pro-American graffiti all across the truck about how Canada, down with Canada, kill all the Canucks. And they get pulled over by a Canadian mounted police. And the guy steps out and says, in Ottawa up here, we have this thing where you have to have you have to have the English and French as well. So we made him paint all the pro-Canadian, all the anti-Canadian stuff,
That's
pro-American stuff, and in
but
French
that's-
as well.
That's a joke. That's a joke from Life of Brian. Life of Brian, where like the Roman guard shows up as they're graffitiing the wall of down with Rome or something like that in Latin.
You have to write it in
And-
Latin.
Oh no,
Hebrew or
he's like that's incorrect. You got to say it like this. He's correcting their Latin.
Oh,
so they have
he's
to go
correcting
back,
the Latin.
and
Yeah.
then they have to go repaint the Latin.
Yeah.
Life
all
of
right.
Brian is such a. It's not as popular as the Holy Grail, but it's still a great
Yeah.
movie.
Always look on the bright side of life.
All right. Next, let's move on because we're going on to that long term thing. All right.
The long timers.
The long timer, yeah. Next question comes from Kamikaze Demut, who asks, did we ever find out the whole thinking behind October 22nd Kraken email was supposed to be about, even though the ships went on sale on this Friday before? No idea. They've not explained it. We have theories as to why they had done the way they did it, but no one explained why they did it the way they did. So, Little Bit Madness asks, with Red Dead 2 pay to win and special editions, etc., will Squadron 42 get a similar delivery? What are your thoughts on Red Dead Redemption 2's release money?
I thought Red Dead Redemption 2 was a single player game. How
It
can we
was.
pay to win?
I don't know.
Because the multi, like I posted a video from Is It Worth a Buy, and he goes into great detail why it's pay to win, and it is pay to win majorly.
Is it,
Oh
is
my
it the
God.
shark card thing again, where you have to go buy?
No, it's where you can get this upgraded horse, upgraded saddle, upgraded. You can get better guns automatically out of the gate, and there is a multiplayer aspect to it, and that's what's the pay to win deal, to where you can just level up faster and go places faster because you have a faster horse. And yeah, it has a lot of pay to win elements in it, unfortunately.
let me put it
Of
this way.
course, yes.
Chris
The shark
Roberts.
cards. Yeah.
Chris Roberts, he is not going to put in pay to advance in Squadron 42.
Yeah.
Chris Roberts, it's just not his style with a single player game. It's, at all. Yes, a lot of people are saying he's making a lot of money by selling ships, and there's lots of gray areas what Star Citizen lives in. Squadron 42, if it had pay to advance mechanics, I would be super surprised, because Chris Roberts has gone many times and talked about his ideas behind Squadron 42 is it's a modern Wing Commander. And anyone who's played Wing Commander can tell you, Wing Commander just likes to take a big middle finger, shove it right in your face, and slap your face with it several times over with some of the missions. It does that often. Have you played Wing Commander in the last couple of years? There's a mission where you have to save that freaking like captured cruiser that literally requires you to piss off the bombers and hope that the bombers attack you instead of the cruiser you're trying to protect. Like, Chris Roberts has a hard-on for difficult games. He loves the Souls series. Like, the man wants you to cry and shout at your computer when you're playing his games at times.
He wants to be justified too. He doesn't want.
Yes. He doesn't want to be evil. Yeah.
And imagine trying to play that on a 486 when the game was created. Seriously.
Oh, yeah. Like,
Yeah,
I went through and played the Wing Commander series recently on stream, and holy Christ, there were some missions that were just ball-bustingly difficult. Like, Chris Roberts makes you earn those victories.
Yeah, 100%. So, so it's important to remember that, like, that's his vision of a single-player experience is the kind that you play multiple times over and experience different kind of paths that you can take, but also one that will have missions which you will have to replay many times to figure out the one path that you can do that can get you to win. The one that he expects you to smash your face against over and over and over again until you learn, the hat goes on the head, and figure out the little niche thing of the way to beat it or whatever.
Tangential question. Do you think Ben will surface and do a Wing Commander 2 anniversary live stream?
No, I don't think so. Unfortunately.
I don't know about the health, Ben Lesnick's health. I don't know if he's capable of doing that stuff anymore. But he essentially moved across the country just to do jump point stuff.
He lives near me.
Yeah.
He may phone it in, do the Twitch streaming kind of stuff, but he's not going to do it like in person at like the LA or Houston studio. I don't imagine.
All right, let's move on. But I think there'll be multiple editions. I think if Chris can find a way to get a physical edition that you can purchase, that's a special edition, which has like behind the scenes and a challenge coin and a replica helmet of the fighter pilots, he'll do it. But I don't think you'll have any significant advantages. You might have some costume changes you can make in the game.
I just want them, when they release the game, to come out where you can get kind of like how Mass Effect had the big model ships you can buy. I would love some of those.
Yeah, I like if there was a special edition with like a model Gladius in it. I think that'd be the kind of thing.
Yeah,
but I don't think you'd have a special edition where you get the like you start off with the Hornet instead of the Gladius. Missions. So that's just not how that Chris Roberts designs games. Yeah. It's not how CIG designs games.
We do have the physical packages from 2012, and I think I have like 2 of them. So, and you do start out with a Connie for Star Citizen, but not Squadron 42.
Anyways, that's important to understand to think. Cause like I know there's a lot of worries about single player grind and all that kind of stuff, and I don't think you should worry about single player grind. You should be worried about taking off from your Idris the first time and slamming into the side of it and having a game over screen and having to replay that entire fidelity.
The entirely launch thing again.
The whole thing again. Yeah, not just the launch thing, but going back to the freaking briefing room, so you have to go listen to the briefing one more time. I remember that from Wing Commander 2. From Wing Commander 1 as well, I should say. That whole redoing the briefing all over again. I was like, I know what the briefing is. Let me get to my ship so I can die faster. Oh,
I remember in one mission in Wing 1 where they made me take off inside of an asteroid field, and I slammed right into the first asteroid.
Asteroid, yeah.
Yeah, just literally just out of the cockpit. Just you go through the briefing. I died before it, so I just escaped through everything. As soon as I took off, asteroid dead. Like, son of a bitch.
I fear the Eclipse. Out of all the ships in Star Citizen, Eclipse seems to be the one I fear about. Like 3 or 4 of those can really put a hurting on a guy trying to do something.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, that's going to be a ganking ship right there. The Eclipse, the Retaliator, any sort of stealth.
Alrighty. So next question comes from Diab, who asks, what would the dream in-game mission for Star Citizen? What is your dream in-game mission for Star Citizen? Bree?
Ooh. Even though I said a lot about the combat aspect from the flight model, my dream mission would be just explore an anomaly and take out my Endeavor, do what I need to do, do some particle acceleration, just research and exploring.
Yeah.
Clifford?
What kind of mission? Now you're talking about in Star Citizen, right? Not in Squadron 42.
Yeah, in Star Citizen. That's what the question was.
Dream mission. I don't know. Some discovering like a piece of the lore or history in the game that might immortalize your character within the game's lore itself, I think is pretty astounding. Which he said there are going to be moments like that to where you will be able to affect the actual time and flow of history of Star Citizen and leave your mark. And I think that's what's kind of fun and really makes it more of a personal adventure in the game itself, is where you'll be able to leave your character's legacy behind for others to follow, or to know, oh, okay, so that's when Clifford discovered, that anomaly of ancient, alien technology or artifact of that time that was long forgotten. I think that's gonna be kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking forward to stuff like that. That's for sure.
Yeah.
That's just the lore person in me, though. Like getting your name immortalized for something cool. Vertigo, how about you?
Disabling, boarding, and capturing a enemy capital ship. Could be an NPC
like a
or
mission?
player owned. Yeah, kind of like a javelin, bangle.
That sounds almost
ship.
like a raid.
Yeah. Get a bunch of people together. Let's go take down some badasses. Let's do it.
Especially if they do let you, cut in the side of the ship and just blow in, and that's gonna be fun.
Twistar, how about you? Your dream mission in Star Citizen?
It's pretty easy to find the worst citizens with like the worst attitude and stuff for the game, and the grievers or whatever you want to call them, and bomb the crap out of them on live stream.
You want to have like a
redemption,
griefer
for citizens.
Yeah. Okay. I have 2 ideas. My first idea is a dude, where's my car mission, where you go to a bar, you talk to the wrong person, and you get drugged, and you wake up like in a different spacesuit 4 sectors away, and the mission is to go find where all your stuff went, and you maybe like that kind of crazy long-term like mission chain that leads you like through several systems trying to get your stuff back. That is what that something like that would be crazy, because that was one of my favorite quests in Skyrim, was that like where you end up married to like a hag raven and other crazy stuff.
Yes. I could see that turn into like the Saw too. Like you wake up and the Saw's next to you, and Paul's voice comes on there. You need to saw off your leg.
Yeah,
You want to play a game?
Yeah, so the Hangover Star Citizen style. Yeah, something like that I think would be fun. The other thing would be that. The other thing I would like is some sort of repeatable raid, where like you go to an area of space and you know that there's always going to be a pirate attacking like an Idris in that area. It may not be the same Idris. That Idris may not be in the same place, but in that system there's an Idris that will come under attack by pirates at some point, just because the system is always like that, and which activates a raid, which then causes you to go and help defend the ship and that kind of stuff. Like large scale raid missions would be my kind of dream stuff. Things that would require large groups of individuals, entire crews of ships, multiple ships involvement to effectively work. just because it's a multiplayer game. It's an MMO. Let's have multiple people be able to work together.
Yeah, it's not a single player game. It's not no single player MMO. It's not no Elite Dangerous. Got to work together.
Next question comes from RDR2, or R2D2. I'm sorry. Who asks,
For R2D2.
which star system do you think will be in game at release? Actual names of systems. Twistar, what systems do you think we first get at release?
I myself, I don't know.
You don't know?
I really don't know. I don't know.
Vertigo?
Let's see. Crusader, Nyx, Odin, maybe Terra or Earth. And then you got Pyro, maybe, which is connected to Crusader, but they may just fudge it and say whatever. Could be Vega they could be working on as well, because I know Vega has some significance to the Squadron 42 plotline, potentially. But other than that, it's pretty much a guessing game, because I know the coil's in Odin, and Vega is like right next to Vanduul controlled space. And the teaser for Squadron 42 mentioned that they were under attack and we're not going to lose this system. So that could be Vega they were talking about, the system. Yeah. So Terra would also be high on the list of things they would want, because that's kind of like a big, heroic system that has a lot of cool stuff in there. Second Earth, essentially.
Clifford, how about you? What systems do you think we'll see at release?
Yeah, I'm really hoping for. I want Terra.
Terra?
Yeah, just after seeing the early builds of Terra and now knowing what they can do now, what was there to be seen under NDA was pretty extraordinary. But now with what they have, it's just gonna makes Terra that much more. I want to see it. I want to be there and see the Terra Tower and everything, because I think the system Terra and the planet Terra is going to be like, I don't know. I think it's going to be Chris Roberts' monumental masterpiece to show what all his technology he's built in is going to be there. Like, to show, hey, this is what a real city that really makes you feel like you're a part of my world that I've built for y'all seem real and tangible.
I don't know what I did, but I caused something to happen.
Uh-oh.
Is there dark mode suddenly for
Yeah, there's a dark mode for chat.
No, for Google Drive?
Yeah. There's dark mode for Google. You probably pushed a hotkey on your browser if it turned dark mode on or something.
I don't know what I did.
Windows itself actually has a dark mode as of the last patch, to where you can do dark mode and pretty much everything. Explorer.
I have to figure out what I hit, because I just accidentally hit something and it brought the dark mode. So, but it's just for. Okay, I'm gonna figure this out, because it's all like weird coloration schemes and stuff like that. Let me pull up the responses again. I don't know what I did. No, it reversed everything.
Invert color.
It inverts color. I don't know what that is. Okay, I have no idea what happened. All right, let's move down.
At least you didn't blow a light bulb.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh, Bri'Sirina, what systems do you think that you're going to see at release?
Well, if they do follow what's currently on the star map, which is what I'm looking at right now, that there's way too much lore to pack in one single mind. I'm thinking hopefully it's Magnus, Terra. I actually definitely want to see Terra. Pyro, I think, is also connected to Stanton.
I'll be right back. Keep talking.
But I don't know. I guess it really all depends on how much systems they have at launch. Like, if they have the fabled 5 to 10 systems, then probably everything that's in and around Stanton will hopefully be visible, or hopefully be jumpable. So that's what I think. I think they also have imported Delamar into the Stanton system, and Delamar is supposed to be in Pyro, if I'm not mistaken. Right?
No, Delamar is supposed to be in Nyx,
What?
which is attached to Stanton.
So there's also that too. So they could just have just random systems open up, and they just have the jump point to that system. So it's really a guess. But I guess whatever's on the star map that's close by Stanton, or that's accessible first and secondary.
Yeah, my first thought was when, and I could, I'm probably totally wrong, but when Clifford was talking about Terra being, he's going to want it to be his centerpiece, the first thing that popped into my head was then it's probably not going to be first because he's going to want to have everything in place and make it perfect. But that was, I'm probably totally wrong, but that's what we're talking about. So that was my thought.
So my thought in terms of the systems are we're going to see Pyro, Nyx, Odin, Crusader, or sorry, Stanton, obviously, and Terra. Those are the Pyro, Odin, Stanton, Nyx, and Terra. 5 systems. Yep, that would be my hope. But I tried Windows Key and Plus. It just increased or decreased my my zoom. Is all that did.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
I tried that, but it didn't work. Because I'm holding Windows Key and Plus and just made everything zoom in.
Nah. No idea.
Is it just the browser, or is it just Windows?
Everything. Is it everything, Paul?
It's just my my Chrome for some reason. I don't know what I hit something and suddenly everyone's like, "Hey, what's up? It's inverted now."
Oh my god, they do it. I don't know what it is. I don't know. Let's try Chrome hotkeys on Google
Don't
for you.
touch anything.
Anything. Yeah.
It's like you're going back to being a child. Don't touch fucking everything.
Yeah. So what the hell? I just put my hand down on accident. Okay.
Control 0 is reset browser zoom to default.
Okay, I'll figure this out later. Anyways, let's move on. It's not that bad. It's just disconcerting. Next question comes from Mr. Squarepeg, who asks, was there any news about FOIP webcam at CitizenCon? Yes, that it's coming. But they didn't even use a FOIP as a webcam at CitizenCon, so it's just going to happen later. Mr. Squarepeg asks, was there any news about FOIP webcam at never mind. I already talked about that. What's the weirdest thing you have seen in PTU with FOIP? Asks Whatbread.
Oh my god.
That requires you
The
to actually
Skeletor
turn it
one.
on. Yeah, the Skeletor one with Bad News Barrington, where
If you can link that. That's worth looking
his
at.
eyeballs and his teeth separated from his face. That's probably the weirdest clip I've seen of FOIP. Probably the best
Skeletor
it's ever
takes
gonna
the
get.
cake,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah, that's just there is nightmare fuel. Like FOIP
Nightmare
bounces between
fuel.
FOIP bounces between nightmare fuel and uncanny valley. Like that's where FOIP lives right now.
Yeah. Which is fine for what it's worth, you know. In terms of other things like that, just the lyrics and all that kind of stuff, we had the coolest thing was that with VoIP and FOIP, we just stumbled upon a bunch of people in a bar, and in that bar, we started talking with them and ended up crewing a Hammerhead with them just because we happened to hang out. They were in a bar trying to figure out how to get VoIP working for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's if you've seen like a couple clips that I made. That's how we were just talking with people over VoIP, which is nice.
Yep.
Next question comes from Mr. Squarepeg. What space game, apart from Star Citizen or Squadron 42, is everyone excited for?
X4.
X4. Is there any other games you guys are interested?
There's also wasn't that Dual Universe also a thingy?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've been doing this closed deal. It's I like that game so far. It's pretty fun. Especially this. And I think it's gonna be like a really good, like, high fidelity Minecraft in space, just a really good one. It just
Space Engineers and the MMO.
Yeah, just on the extreme side, it's just so much better built so far. And
unfortunately, I can't comment about that because I'm under NDA.
Yeah.
I was
gonna say
I technically have access to it, but I'm under, but I haven't bothered asking for it. But that's one of those things I'd love to play, but they don't let you stream.
Yeah, Rebel. So. There's also Rebel Galaxy Outlaws, which is don't know when that's coming.
Looking fantastic. It's in March or February of next year.
Yeah,
it's early next year.
And Space Engineers is still getting updated. Stellaris is still getting updates. There's also I don't know if it counts as a space game, but there's also Titans of Industry, which is made by the same people who did the Crypt of the Necrodancers, with Danny Baranowski doing the soundtrack, which I'm kind of interested in. Looks pretty interesting, pixel art kind of indie game. And
there's also I gotta look it up, but it's like I want to say it's Space Home on the Range, but that's not the answer. The name of it. It's I follow these guys. It's like range. It's like Space Station DF9, which was a one of those games. Oh my,
really? That Tim Schafer game that you're bringing up?
Yes, that was
abandoned.
That he abandoned, totally abandoned. But it's like that mixed with RimWorld. So, but it's set in space. It's like that because it's set in space. But it's like more like RimWorld in terms of colony management, but it's like a space colony management system. I'm trying to find the name of the game. I'm trying to.
Oh, and speaking of RimWorld,
it's called Space
RimWorld. Oh, Space
RimWorld
Haven.
Released. Yeah.
Yeah, RimWorld made through early access. It is an early access success. Who would have thought?
But Space Haven, which is made by development, he takes in. He says he's doing taking inspiration from RimWorld, Space-Based DF9, Oxygen Not Included, and Dwarf Fortress. So,
and Oxygen Not Included is also coming up as well.
That's another good one. So that one's definitely to look out for. I talked with the dev, be like, hey, I looked at the game, looks interesting, and they're like, hey, come talk to us next year, and we'll deal with stuff. I'm like, yeah, it's cool. So I'm looking forward to that. So
hells yeah.
And I'm also kind of excited for Starfighter Inc., which had a Kickstarter that failed, but then they did another Kickstarter, which they barely got enough money to be funded. It's from the developers of X-Wing and TIE Fighter, so it's going to be. And I think
they made it. They made it like another game called House of the Dying Sun, which was their prototype, like their proof of concept, which was a good game. It's a VR game.
LucasArts made TIE Fighter, if I'm correct.
Yes, they did, but the developers left. LucasArts is closed down, so a lot of the developers are off on their own. So these guys are now making their own game. Called,
the heydays of Sierra.
Space Fighter.
Sierra.
All right, next question comes from... I'm going to skip that one because we talked a lot about that already. Mr. Squarepeg. It's talking about VR, expectations for VR headsets and stuff like that.
Okay.
But, Ball asks, what ships do you think will benefit the most from the new flight model?
Well, the Jean Scout, because everything's going to get nerfed. But the Jean Scout's going to be amazingly agile. So there you go.
I can buy it back.
I think every ship is going to change. I think the biggest change we're going to see is that the Saber and the Hornet are no longer going to be the go-to pull-out beat sticks for everybody. And ships like the Vanguard are going to be even harder to manage. So, but yeah, I think you're going to see a lot more. If you want a dogfight, you're going to want a Gladius. If you or a Buccaneer or a 325A, that kind of range is going to be like where you're going to see the actual maneuvering dogfighters. Whereas the rest of it, anything above that, you're going to start seeing slower turn, more hard-hitting ships, but they're not going to be able to be as agile as you think.
Yep.
Yeah. Next question comes from Not Gray-Headed Gamer, who asks, playable female characters are the most needed addition to Star Citizen. Change my mind. No. I'm not going to change your mind. I agree.
Yep.
Okay.
It's one of my three. One of them was ship buying in game. That's done. Next
That
is
box is checked.
female character models. And the last one is Squadron 42 in terms of the roadmap, because they promised that roadmap, and the roadmap means release. So,
I mean, the Star Citizen has been a sausage fest for a long enough time. We need something better to look at.
well, it's more than just that. There are literal people, or there at least a dozen people that I know who are waiting to play the game until female character models come in, because they're like, I'm not going to play the game until it comes in because I don't feel represented. And the term representation is actually fairly important in an MMO. It's one of the few genres of gaming where you have a large portion of people who are not, your typical stereotypical gamer who will come and play. So, yes. No, like I wasn't flipping people off. I was doing this, and then I did the middle finger down, and then I did the last one, or this one, and then this one. Not flipping you off. That's not flipping you off. It's my ring finger. Mr. Squarepeg asks, with the Kraken being a mobile spawn point for ships, will there be a ship terminal similar to the ones in Al-Asar and other stations?
I would expect
Probably.
so. And I would expect, and this is a conspiracy theory I'm throwing out, that you can actually use the Kraken to blackmail people by stealing their ships.
The ships.
Yeah,
and
you can extort
and
people.
Throwing it into your invisible. Well, I don't think it'll necessarily, the ships will go away. I don't think they'll despawn. I think they just spawn. So if your ship.
Well, if the Kraken, if you log out and your Kraken's in the game, the Kraken will despawn if no one's around it.
Yeah,
so therefore,
which includes the ships on it.
Dude, just park your ships on my Kraken. We'll keep it safe for you. And then next week you tell them like, hey, if you ever want to see your ship again,
you gotta pay me money.
Here's my PayPal. You just start giving me money. I'll tell you when you reach the level for me
when
giving
you've earned it.
back.
Yeah. They'll just claim it as they'll just claim it's blown up and move it.
Yeah.
That would suck.
It's not going to have ship spawning in the sense that you can just spawn ships out of nowhere. It's just,
I believe the inside ones can, right?
Yeah, there are interior hangars for it. So, next question comes from Tugo99, who asks, "Do you guys see China farmers as a problem for the economy?
Yes.
Besides currency sale, they will also destroy the whole material pricing."
I thought the non-PCs were supposed to take care of any attempt of that. I mean, that's what the whole Tony Z thing was about, that the economy cannot be destroyed, right?
Well, players can still have. That's the problem with MMOs. Is usually the economy curve for the players is usually infinite in the positive direction. Like if the longer the game is live, the more money the players can simply earn, and that's one of the reasons why we have the component wear, the component health, the ships wearing out, the tariffs, the price, the timers, and the rental fees for the hangars, and the this and that and the other thing is to have a monetary black hole to drag money out of the economy that CIG can monkey with. To if the economy starts running away, CIG can apply some brakes to it.
Mm-hmm.
But the idea is that the
idea that they sell the UEC isn't that like
that's the idea, is to undercut
it?
It's the idea is to undercut the Chinese miners.
The gold farmers. They can't sell it.
Yeah, they'll have to sell it below that rate in order to beat CIG, and that may be not profitable. And CIG can change the rate whenever they want. The problem about that is that it's not a guarantee, because you don't know how much time someone's going to have to play a game,
make money.
Make money.
If there's any
if CIG sees like X amount come from this account into this account, couldn't they like, okay, you're going to be banned and this isn't allowed?
They could, but they could also be accidentally banning someone who's having a legitimate reason for moving credits from one place to another.
That's why they plan on having fees for inter-person
transactions or movements. Yeah. So.
And that's one that there was actually excellent BlizzCon talk about some hackers who were working against Blizzard on World of Warcraft, and they said the holy grail of hacking in video games is being able to virtualize the game without the graphics and the sounds and whatnot, all that stuff. If you can just tell the character that you tell the game, my character went here and did this action, and the game says, yes, you did that, here's your payment. You can then run the client on a bunch of virtual machines, like 200 clients per machine, and then you just start a server farm with like that. Sure, you're only making 100 UEC per minute, but you have 10,000 clients doing that, and then you consolidate that wealth. And this is why the Blizzard's auction house shut down.
Yeah, Ultima Online all over again.
Yeah, they had to shut that stuff down because Blizzard couldn't control it. Someone finally cracked the game to the point where they didn't need to run the game. They just ran the client, and the client told the server this happened, and the server said, "Yeah, we agree with you. Here's this money." And then the cost for gold on the auction house just plummeted. You can buy millions of gold on the real money auction house for just a couple bucks. And it got worse and worse and worse. And eventually Blizzard said, we can't control this. And the same thing is going to happen with Star Citizen. People are going to try. And there was also stories in the news about the Chinese gold farmers where they had prison guards were forcing prisoners to play WoW. World of Warcraft. So they could sell those items for real money, for extra money on the side.
Yep. Okay. Bombing China farmers confirmed.
Yeah.
Bombing.
Next question comes from Prater Meyer, who asks, considering the exchange rate between UEC and money and in between some ships and UEC, why would anyone want to buy UEC at this time? It's more profitable to buy ships and sell them in the PU considering the current ship's exchange rate. We have no idea what the ship's exchange rate is. We don't know how much money you're going to make.
Yeah, like they may artificially nerf. And I've talked to a few people in my community who think they can sell their capital ships in game to some NPC and get a bunch of UEC out of it. CIG may say that if you sold a ship that you bought for real money to an NPC, you may make a quarter of your purchase value back. They may normalize that against the UEC purchase cost. So I don't know.
My understanding it's variable between planet to planet. Like if you go way far out to where they don't have access to the ability to get whole E's and stuff like that, you could probably sell your whole E for God knows what.
And there may not the NPC out there may not have enough money to even purchase the whole E. They may not even talk to you.
So
we don't know quite yet. It's all theory. The idea that you can even sell a ship you bought with real money to an NPC for UEC. We don't even know if that's going to be a thing. I don't think CIG has said that they're going to let that happen.
We can still name planets if we find them. Is that still?
We assume that they're going to be there, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen. That's the problem. All right, we only have 4 questions left. Next question comes from Ball, who asks, out of all the Bronze Age peoples we have yet to see see the Germanic tribes and the Vikings in game represented as an alien race. Star Citizen is based off of late Bronze Age, late Iron Age, not Bronze Age.
Yeah, so, Roman Empire
kind
of era.
But Germanic tribes and Vikings represented in the game. Will we see them? To a degree, the Vanduul are based off of the Germanic tribes.
Mm-hmm.
That's their purpose. They're the Vandals, which were the Germanic tribes, which also include some elements of the Viking culture as well in their creation. So that is who you see is the Vanduul, or the Vanduul are the Vandals, which are Germanic tribes.
What I wonder who's going to be
deepest of lore.
Yes. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, what I'm wondering who's going to be the Saracens, who's going to be
the Banu.
Even Banu's going to be the Saracens.
Mm-hmm. They're heavily based off of the Bedouin merchants and a lot of Middle Eastern culture in terms of the fracturedness of it and the culture and how they function. It's not 1-to-1, but it would be boring to be 1-to-1. It's their own thing, spin on it. But
yeah, they took the concept of that culture and they applied it to the Banu race, and then they kind of expanded on it a little bit.
Banu is even a name in Arabic. Like, not even kidding. It's a name. Just like Xi'an is an actual city in China, which is not a subtle way of saying Xi'an are based off of the Chinese.
Yeah.
Are they based off the Chinese or off
the Chinese? A little bit of everything. I mean, just that kind of era, that time and that kind of era. So there probably is a little bit of the
Khans and the Chinese.
The Mongols, the Chinese, the Indian civilizations, what were they called? The Persian civilization at the time. They had a different name. I can't remember the top of it, but yeah. Those sorts of civilizations, more what we call today more Eastern
Samaria.
Not really Samaria. more
Or
ancient
more later.
Eastern. Yeah, more later than that. The Tavaran are someone's asking about the Tavaran. The Tavaran are the Carthaginians.
You think
So-
they're the Carths?
They're the Carthaginians. They're the people who were conquered by the Empire in 2 wars. And the second war almost destroyed the UAE. So yeah, that's definitely the Punic Wars. CIG was not subtle in their stealing of Roman history. They were not subtle initially. They've become better at it, but they were not subtle. They hit you over the head with their historical comparisons.
But hey, just go read the Fall of Rome. Rise and Fall
Yeah.
of Rome, and you'll pretty much figure out what the hell's going on in Star Citizen.
Terra
How about
is.
Krthak?
We don't know. A lot of people are thinking that the Krthak are actually the Mongols because they might be the people who are pushing the Tavar or the Vandul out into human space. Because for those of you who know history, not the Mongols, the Huns. The Huns pushed the Vandul, the Vandals and other Germanic tribes into Roman territory because they were bounced out of their territory by the Chinese. And we do know that the Krthak and the Xi'an, who are the Chinese, sort of
Analogs.
metaphor analogs. Thank you.
Karthak is the Karathi? Or no?
Yes.
No, the Krthak. No, they might be. We don't know. They might be based off the Karathi. But anyways, they're supposed to be the Hun. They're probably the Huns, and the Vandul are being driven out by possibly the Krthak. We'll see though.
You need to quit breaking down my shitty wall.
We've got 2 more questions, or no, 4 more questions. But most of them are pretty quick. One question is from someone in the panel who asks, "What are people drinking?" I'm drinking Shiner Black Lager. Steam Whistle, yeah, it's a good beer.
I'm drinking
Vertigo.
iced tea.
Hofbrau Oktoberfest.
Hofbrau.
It's delicious.
Just it's Miller time. Champagne of beers.
The champagne of beers. The High Life.
The High Life. It was cheap. It was on sale.
It's cheap and available. That's all
Yeah.
it needs to be.
It's piss water, gets you drunk. Good enough. Someone gave me $10 this week for a beer fund. And I'm like, hey, 2 6-packs of Miller Tall Boys, $10. Sounds like a great idea. Match made in heaven.
Hells yeah.
The Future Space Pope asks, mod tools in Star Citizen when? They've said years after they've released the game.
Yeah,
So
it
once
ain't
the
coming
game-
anytime soon.
Codes asks,
What the mod presentation was about, because I haven't seen the newest ones that
mods
out.
was about, I think it was about the moderators of Spectrum and that kind of stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think so. It could have been modifications. I don't know. I haven't seen it either, so I didn't even see it live. Next question comes from Codes, who asks, if Squadron 42 is set before the timeline of the PU, then won't they hold off adding most systems shown in Squadron 42 until after its release, so they don't have spoilers shown in the PU, such as if Terra got severely damaged or wiped out, for example? Terra's not getting wiped out.
It's Constantinople.
Yeah, there's a lot of things they can do in game, which they can wave away in Star Citizen.
Yeah.
So
There's a time skip after Squadron 42, so
yeah, because it takes place a couple of years before our current era. So
I think the theory is that you wash out of the military, and that's who you are after. After
at
you play
the
Squadron
end
42.
of Squadron 42 Part 3 is when you're supposed to. And they said they're going to have like a little journal that will impact your play in game. So like if you're playing in Star Citizen and you beat Squadron 42, then suddenly you'll have some perks in Star Citizen that you wouldn't have had before.
That's where you can get the F8 Lightning.
And is Earth getting sacked? That is, they actually went on stage and said the sack of Earth is going to happen. This is like at the GDC event they pitched Star Citizen in. They talked about the sack of Earth, but how players will have an impact on whether Earth is sacked or not, because that's one of their things.
that may be the bad ending.
Yeah.
Everybody gets. But if you play super well, you can prevent the sack of Earth. Heroic last stand, and we prevented the sack of Earth this time.
Mhm.
That kind of thing.
Dirk asks, think we will see a station akin to the Star Trek Beyond film from 2016, like a floating colony in space.
That'd be cool.
That'd be cool, probably. That's kind of what the synth world is.
Pioneer's role is, right? To build. Well, no, that's on planets, but they'll make another one to build bases, I believe.
Yeah, I don't think we'll see a player base that size though, because it's the Star Trek Beyond film. Is like that thing is basically a city in space. It's just a giant city that's also a space station.
Oh, it's like Spider.
Yeah, kind of like Spider. Yeah, I guess you could say they already have that. It's Spider.
Yeah. Spider.
They do. Spider. Spider is in the Cathcart system. It's a giant junkyard, but it's a giant city. So yeah, it already exists. That station already exists in lore. It's called Spider. It's where the bad people go to live, and it's the
to hide from the good
capital.
people.
Yeah, it's the outlaw capital. All right. Well, that's the last question. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us here tonight at the Astropub. If you did enjoy yourselves, consider hitting that follow button. Please do follow all these wonderful people. Twistar 82, right? 82. Twistar 82, hcvertigo, Clifford, aka Miku, or Spearmint _VR.
Spearmint / virtual reality.
Braguy 168.
And Bri'Sirina or Braguy 168. Follow all these wonderful folks. And like I say every time, hope to see you guys again soon. But if I don't, hope to see you someday in the black. Have a good night, guys.
And Monday on MechWarrior.
Monday, yes.
Yep.
All right, the recording is stopped, so we can now.
I go bathroom now.
I go bathroom.
I'll be right back.
Go for it. Let's see who we're gonna raid. Let's find a good target to raid. That's a smaller streamer.
He need to
He's
streaming.
Streams. All right, let's go. Let's go raid Gray because he was hanging out here. Let's just go send him all these people. Go give him shit, guys. Give him lots of shit.
Yeah, for talking crap to us.
Yeah.
Love GHG.
Love.
Much love GHG, but take the shit. Take all of it. There you guys.
All right. Another fun episode.
That was good. It was a good one.